welcome to the NGE Shadowverse Open. We are on number 7. You know what I didn't notice?
What?
That trailer that we have?
Yep.
It's super awesome. It's super cool.
Oh, yeah.
I never noticed that it goes Dragoncraft, Shadowcraft, Swordcraft. Did you
No
realize
way.
that? It does. I didn't realize. Hey, that's Sterling. This is Rainy. This is Rainy. That's Sterling. We're here to give you the NGE Shadowverse Open number 7. And if you guys haven't been here before, if you're just tuning in, or if you need a little refresher, let's go through the process that you can make it to the playoffs. What's the format of this tournament? We start first at open play, open entry, and we are 7 weeks in, so there's 10 weeks total, so there's only 3 more left after this. Open to all North American players, and the winners will receive a playoff invitation. So that's the first place winner gets a path straight to the playoffs, Phase 1. And the rest of those 16 players in playoffs Phase 1 will be decided, 10 of them from direct invites, and the 6 remaining are the highest points finishers that have not been invited yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will play to Phase 2, where it'll just be the top 8, and each of the top 8 wins cash prizes, but the first place finisher wins the most of all, $10,000 up for grabs. That's how the season will progress. Finals, I believe, Phase 1 is going to be on June 13th, so that's coming up real soon. And then June 20th is the finals day. So that's actually coming up pretty quick. It feels like just yesterday we started doing the NGE
Yeah, I know. It feels like
Open.
it was just yesterday, and it's been 7 weeks. We've had 7 weeks of tournaments so far.
And to be 7 weeks of prizes, let's take a look at what people can win today. 30,000 vials. Woo, that's a lot of vials. It's rated vials. Flare. And a direct invite to the playoffs, of course, as we mentioned. And then 10,000 vials for second place. And third and fourth will get 5,000 vials apiece. All participants will receive the NGE Shadowverse Open emblem. And they'll be going home happy and pleased with themselves. Of course, what isn't mentioned is the top placing finishers, not just the top 4, they'll all be getting points. And it's going to be working towards that leaderboard that we're talking about. That's how we're going to surface some of those players that will be invited to the playoffs. Now, currently, here are the invitees on the left. We've got Cure Mango, Exodium, Blessed, Noah, Unlocker, Jay-Z. Just look at that. All these players finished first place within their weekly tournaments, and they are straight to the playoffs. On the right, you see the current top 6. Now, this is the top 6 on the leaderboard that has not received a direct invite to the playoffs so far. It's going to be Stoles, SP Mart, Pot Washer, Auto Aim, Alternative, and then 5 Pawns there.
That's right. The current top 6 here on the right, those are the players that are staged to earn the invite after we see all the other winners.
And that flare that you saw below, that the Season 1 MVP flare, that is going to be given to the one player who is actually on the top of the leaderboard. So out of everybody who's direct invited or not direct invited, that flare will only go to the top points earner. So there's a slight differentiation. That top 6 did not include the already invited players. They hold a lot of points. For example, Noah holds a ton of points. He's keeping them all. He's grabbing them all for himself. He's not the kind of guy who shares. Come Christmas time, he has cookies, he has milk. He takes it all for himself.
What a selfish guy. How dare he?
Yes.
And I've got a feeling that we're going to be seeing him today as well. Nothing official, just a gut feeling.
Well, let's see if you're right, Sterling. Let's take a look at the bracket.
Oh, yeah, I was right.
Whoa, team kill!
Oh, jeez.
J Hobo versus Noah. Now, this is already 3 weeks in a row that it's been kind of put on notice where Noah has just been swinging and trying to get that second first place finish. He isn't stopping for anybody. So it's going to be Noah versus J Hobo, and then the 7th is still waiting for his opponent. Omega is still waiting for his opponent, and then we've got Gregory H2O versus Yumi. Now,
2 EXG players.
Yeah.
Vinny's got to be real happy about that.
Yeah. They're about to, and they're not going to team kill each other until the finals if they make it through.
Right.
So these two, they're the hope and the dream of EXG.
That's right. Yeah, they're in different brackets. They'll be in different semifinals if they do advance.
We'll see if they can make it far enough to get to that point, but very interesting to see. Mana Surge going to team kill themselves, then Mana Surge has to maybe face EXG. I don't know. It all depends on who those 2 extra people are. Lest also made a really far run last week.
He did.
Got second to Jay-Z. So Les almost stole that title from Noah.
It was close, man.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see. Maybe Les will show up again today, but
That's right.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
there's still a few spots that have yet to be filled in.
If you want your chance to earn a spot on that top 8, maybe take first place and go to the playoffs, you can go to NGE, or rather shadowverse.ng.io, and you can find information about how to sign up, how to participate, when the tournaments are happening, when the broadcast is happening, who are the current winners, all that kind of stuff. Also, if you want to talk about the Shadowverse Open, if you just want to engage in social media, as they say, @WatchNGE is the channel you would go to find out everything Shadowverse related for the Shadowverse Open, as well as Sterling and I kind of creep around there, kind of take a peek, see what you guys are talking about.
Every day or so. Every
day,
hour. Every hour.
Minute
Every
or
minute,
so.
yeah.
Every
Every hour
second.
for me, every minute for him.
Yeah.
We're not obsessed or anything.
Constantly
Not
check
at
it
all.
just to cry over the comments that I read.
In other news, Rainey and I are starting a band. Officially announced today when we came up with the idea like an hour ago. The title, the name of our band, Sterling Rain.
Terrible.
That's a great band name.
It's fantastic.
If I
but it's
saw that
terrible.
album on whatever, like a streaming site, I would totally listen to that EP, man.
You would listen to the EP? All right. Hey, well, nobody else wants to. I think it's just going to have 2 listens, just you and me. But we're about to jump into the first game here of the Shadowverse Open. It's going to be a doozy. I hope to see. I want to see Havencraft. I want to see Nephthys. I want to see all these different colors.
We've got all these hopes and dreams. Let's see if they're going to be coming to fruition. It's going to be MS J Hobo versus MS Noah. And it is going to be Havencraft on Hobo versus Noah's sword deck.
The tried and true. Noah is a true warrior. He's got the spirit of the sword within him.
That's right. And a Heavenly Hound in the hand for Hobo, as well as a Prison Priestess. This could be a test of strength deck. Many times the Havens run Prison Priestess to try to get the test of strength in their hand as well.
Now, what's interesting was when we were talking about this with Envy last week, Envy provided her thoughts on perhaps why Havencraft wasn't quite as popular as it was in the East. And she said that it's perhaps because the West has chosen to go towards the direction of swordcraft, of bloodcraft, of these kind of slightly more aggressive, hard to deal with boards, or hard to deal with aggression, that Havencraft has a tough time kind of establishing itself against things like Dragon and Shadow, just because it oftentimes gets killed off by these other crafts. Let's see if that's the case. Noah's obviously an excellent swordcraft player. So, we'll see. Let's take a look at what they have in hand. Ancient Lion Spirit just got pulled. There's the Heavenly
As well
Aegis.
as Aegis as well, yeah.
Has the Curate. Has the Cudgels.
So Hobo has the turn 5 evolve with the Lion Spirit to follow up the Floral Fencer that's probably going to come out this turn and trade into the Priestess, which will leave all followers on the board with 2 health. So an evolved Ancient Lion, or excuse me, the Floral Fencer will still have 1 defense.
Yep, it's gonna be sitting there with 3, but still I feel like that's the best way to make sure you mitigate damage and prevent board control from sitting there. The only problem is, I mean, you're 1 turn away, but that does set up a potential thing like Tsubaki coming in.
Right. And we'll see if Hobo elects to play the Curate.
It only goes up to 4.
Yeah, it doesn't have any stat changes, unfortunately. That would be an absolute monster of a card if it had a stat change. Even just 1 attack and 1 defense would be crazy.
So Tsubaki not really going to be able to take that out, but I feel that there are better options available for Noah. For example, there could be something like a Lyrial Evolve.
He does have another Floral Fencer, and that would be able to trade into the Lion Spirit very well. It'd be left with 1 defense. And maybe keep that Maid Leader for turn 7 when you can play it and then play and get Albert or Luminous Mage in the hand and play it on the same turn as well.
Now, this is a situation that I think back-to-back Floral Fencers is obviously a lot of pressure. J-Hobo has a second Lion Spirit, and he's going to repeat that same trade again.
Using his last Evolve point, which is interesting because he's not going to be able to have it for a Heavenly Aegis Evolve come turn 9 in just a few turns. So he's going to be able to just play Heavenly Aegis but not be able to really gain a massive tempo swing.
I think it's kind of a big difference as well, right? Because that change from 8 damage to 10 means that you can end the game in 2 turns or 3 turns, right?
And we still don't know if Hobo is even running Test of Strength. He hasn't come into his hand. And the Prison Priestess pulled up that Sacred Plea that we see on the field right now.
Saving the Evolution Orb, and I think that's smart. You really don't want to spend your resources kind of haphazardly, especially heading into this territory of kind of the latter half of the game.
But electing to keep the Alliance Spirit on the side of the field gives Heavenly Hound its ability to gain 2 defense and ward.
Looking tough, actually, for Noah. And Heavenly Aegis, again, already in hand. So, I mean, Hobo is not worrying about drawing into an option, right? He knows what he can do to close out the game.
And Noah's has been going for a lot of clear this game. He's only done 1 damage plus a little bit of healing as well. So I think Hobo's going to be in a great spot to when he lays down that Heavenly Aegis on turn 9.
Big thing here is once we get to the late game turns, even things like Grimner are going to be largely not super effective because the Aegis is just going to withstand damage. What Grimner can do is handle most of the other followers that Hobo will place. There's not a lot of beefy followers on the board at all for Havencraft, really just the Aegis kind of from that late turn on.
But cards like Grimnir, Albert, and even Fangblade Slayer, they can still do damage to the enemy leader through Heavenly Aegis. So unless you have something like a Test of Strength to really mitigate that damage, but a lot of players in these Aegis' decks, they choose to not have Test of Strength, to omit
They've been omitting Test of Strength.
That's right.
And I think really it's kind of a good option if you want to make sure you're very efficiently getting options that will save you early on. Because that is the classic problem for these Test of Strength Heavenly Aegis decks is being able to set up that situation has been tough. Curate gets taken down by Tsubaki, and there's some value.
He's going to go for face damage with the Luminous Knight there. Real interesting choice. Heavenly Aegis is probably going to come down this turn, and the Lion's going to be able to trade in the Knight as well. And then the clock starts ticking down as soon as that Aegis hits the field.
So let's think about it, right? 1 Evolution Orb, Albert, with the Enhance, swings 10, Tsubaki going to swing 4, so that's 14 damage, and Aegis has to race, right?
Yep.
And when you
plus a Grimnir on the following turn.
Yep. There's the Grimnir and the second Albert, so it's a lot of damage that you're going to need something like a ward or a Test of Strength to stop. Heavenly Aegis is going to need to desperately try to clear as much as it can.
And Heavenly Aegis is great as that just a follower that cannot be removed can trade endlessly. But this is turn 9 for that evolved Albert plus the Tsubaki.
Oh, 2 Grimnirs.
2 Grimnirs. I think Noah's going to be able to close out this game.
So much damage. So much damage prepped and ready to go. Evolve on the Albert here, perhaps. There it is.
And Noah can just trade into face and completely ignore the Aegis, and I don't think Hobo is going to be able to clear off these followers.
Yeah. Only 3 health. He needs to get above 6 at the very least and find some way to clear out.
Okay, so that can banish the Tsubaki, and then he can trade into the Albert, but a Grimnir is still going to end this game. He doesn't have any kind of healing.
Yeah. And so unfortunate. Curate was kind of the big heal, but he had to use it at 19 health points and wasted a lot of the heal. Got it destroyed by the Tsubaki, and that's going to be the end here.
Hobo emptying out his hand, just hoping for the best, but I think Noah's going to be able to play this Grimnir this turn and close out this game, bringing the score 1-0.
There it is. Grimnir, kind of the death blow to so many people in this expansion, and Grimnir continues to demonstrate exactly why it's such a great card to bring. 4 damage to face and a board clear can just be so strong.
So and a ward, not to mention that. So it still has a pretty decent curve. If you want to play it for tempo on turn 3, it's just an absolutely stellar card.
We saw a situation last week where Grimnir came in and turned the game around. I think it was...
For Noah,
Yeah, I think it was Noah against Lest, I think.
Yes, yes, you're right.
It was Noah versus Lest.
Yeah,
it was
the round
the
of
second game of their best of 3. And he top-decked the Grimnir and laughed his way.
Took out that Shadow Reaper with that 11 attack. That was absolutely stellar.
So, hey, the Swordcraft deck was able to eke a win out, and I think it was very, very close, definitely showing the weakness of not bringing something like Test of Strength there. You really, really would have preferred that Albert to not swing for face in that scenario. The instant you put that Test of Strength down, Heavenly Aegis stops all, but J Hobo's Havencraft deck, I think, performed pretty admirably.
Absolutely, and I think in this next matchup, I really like the Havencraft in this matchup with all its banishing capabilities to get rid of those catacombs, to get rid of those Ectors immediately and prevent those last word abilities from proccing.
this could be a tough situation versus Shadow with Shadowcraft going first. It does mean that you have more evolve orbs, so
Right.
you have more flexibility of competing the early board.
And with Cudgels and Lion Spirits, having those evolve orbs is absolutely crucial.
But I think on the flip side, this also means that the Ector turns are going to be much more scary just because
Very true.
Shadowcraft will be one step ahead of you in terms of maintaining board control and then also having that Catacomb Last Word effect on top of that.
Right. But there's been a great curve for Hobo. He got Sacred Plea on turn 1 and then Heavenly Hound probably on the next turn and then Prison Priestess after that. And there wasn't a 1-drop for Noah, so that's a lot of pressure that the Shadowcraft really wants and wasn't able to get. But there could be a Prince Catacomb coming out here. Really making this a difficult board for Hobo to deal with no banishing inside aside from the Acolyte's Light and the Judge of Retribution, which are going to come out on later turns. There's nothing like a Blackened Scripture in hand unless he can draw that in the next turn or so.
Yep. And here we go. It begins. The Prince Catacomb Dream.
And Tribunal is such a great card, but it's really kind of weak in this Shadow matchup because it destroys a random follower and then ticks down until it destroys another random follower. Really strong against Dragoncraft or Swordcraft when they might have just a Tsubaki or a Fangblade Slayer on their side of the field. But in this matchup, it's going to be real difficult to make that happen when there's a lot of weak followers on the side for Shadowcraft.
The classic 2-card combo here for Noah, the Catacomb into Orthrus. And the ideal situation as well because your turn 2 card survived, was able to trade out, then the Skeleton was able to trade out, and then got 3 face damage with the buff up.
Right. But that was the Cudgel that came out from the Sacred Plea. And he's going to be able to get a great play off of this, leaving the Cudgel with 4 attack and 4 defense, and clear off the whole board as well. So the Catacomb play was essentially mitigated, aside from that 3 damage that Hobo took.
All right, let's see what the situation is.
He's not going to be able to play Soul Squasher. He doesn't have enough shadows. He's going to have to
He's
evolve
actually
the
gotten-
Grimnir, maybe trade in.
He's really gotten minimal shadows considering the Catacomb drop. Right.
Yeah, that's right. Banishing does not add shadows. It doesn't destroy the card. So when he banished that Catacomb, that was the Catacomb and then the Skeleton that weren't able to be destroyed. So that was 2 shadows, preventing him from making use of that out of that Soul Squasher's ability right there.
Had to spend the Evolution Orb instead.
So Hobo being able to squeeze out precious resources from Noah. We'll see if it's going to be enough.
Thinking a little bit about what the best turn is, and I feel like there's not really an ideal play for Hobo here. Decides to go for the Tribunal, but didn't tag the 4 damage card.
He is able to lay down that Sacred Play, get some cards next turn as well. He has Bahamut in his deck as well.
I think that's really interesting because it just wipes everything but the Aegis out, right?
Right.
And now here comes an incredible amount of pressure.
Yeah.
Coco and Mimi in hand with 3 cards on the table, 4 damage, 3 damage, and 1.
And there's no Themis in hand. There is a Judge. He's going to be able to banish probably the Grimnir and then trade into the Cerberus with an Evolve Orb. But there is a lot of damage
there's a
coming out
Themis
from
now.
Noah. There's a Themis, yep.
The Skull Beast will remain on board. That's going to mean at least 5 damage if Noah wants to go down that path, but we'll see what the draw is.
Right,
Orthrus.
He might want to play Death's Breath this turn as well. Buff up the Shadow Reaper and still get those the Skeletons on the field. But that's just a prime target for the Themis.
Yeah.
He's going to have to destroy his own Judge of Retribution. I wonder if there's another way he could trade into, which is a shame because now he's got the Heavenly Hound with the Evolved Judge.
The scary part here, the scariest part here is if you did something like Themis, you're basically weighing the chances on whether Noah has something like a Phantom Howl.
Right.
Because 10 health is not a lot against a Shadowcraft player that has an Evolution Orb, that has Mimi in hand.
Yeah, that's right. But there's only 1 shadow on the side for Noah, so even if he did have Phantom Howl, he'd only be able to summon 1 ghost.
Right. I mean, well, if he uses Themis, right?
That's true. Yeah, Themis would give him the shadows he needs. And he is going to use that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens here. What is a draw? Oh, God. That looked...
He's got another 6 shadows to use on that Death's Breath, but that's going to be all his shadows as well. And there's more banishing in the hand for Hobo as well.
We'll see. I feel like Shadow is not in the most comfortable spot just based on the cards he has in hand. It could potentially be a really good spot, but it's not really the killing blow that you need.
Right.
Shadowcraft does gain a lot of value just over time, though. There it is. One of the zombies gets taken down.
And just one more turn till Aegis is going to be coming down. And he saved that Evolve Orb. He still has one. That's why Havis is so strong going second, because you get that third option to use that Evolve Orb.
Such a awkward situation as well. Kind of the extra health point on the zombies means that Dark John can't straight just wipe it all out in one go, forcing the second Judge of Retribution and the Evolution Orb as a result of that. But now, Hobo gets to install Heavenly Hound, and I think that's really good. You still have that Dark John for the clear. You have a Tribunal. You're getting to 9 play points. You can drop your Aegis.
Yeah, I really like the position that Hobo's been able to put himself in. He's got all the options he needs to deal with this late game. And Noah is running out of steam. This could be the end.
Mimi to take down the ward, and I think Noah is just trying desperately to find a situation where if Hobo tries to play anything like an Aegis, he loses enough tempo that Hobo can swing for lethal.
Right.
With the combination of Orthrus, I think he's got 2, 4, 6 Evolution, and Orthrus means that he could kill, but Dark John comes in.
Clears the board as well, preventing Noah from getting a great Hector play and going for face for a lot of damage, like you just said.
Again, we still need to be very cognizant of something like a
good choice, too. Oh, my gosh. Noah just
man.
drew Hector. He was going to be able to secure himself some board clear here.
Got 2 zombies for it.
Want to play?
And the Evolve means he's going to be able to take down Jean and the Judge.
There is no.
Just leaving
And
the
the Prison Priestess.
Yep. But in a way, he's preventing Hobo from playing Aegis this turn. He could just play Bahamut. And,
He has the
clear
Bahamut,
board,
right?
And also Tribunal as well. He's going to play the Bahamut. And with a perfect 13 defense to Bahamut's 13 attack.
There's still the
Shadow Reaper.
possibility of the Phantom Howl.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, he's going to commit the Orthrus, actually. It's done.
Don't think that
He should be able to use the Tribunal. and then
Tribunal,
swing.
yep.
Oh, and I got the Shadow Reaper, too.
Amazing.
The double Tribunal. Hey, look at that. Hobo.
So Haven showing up against Shadow in this matchup, and Hobo being able to take a game against Noah.
Yeah, and I really think you took a look at that deck early on, right? And you saw that he had the Bahamut as well as the Heavenly Aegis, and we were talking about it. And I think that in practice is exactly why you want to bring Bahamut, right? Because it provides you the extra dynamic. One of the biggest things about Aegis is tempo, right? The story of Aegis is always, can you lose that one turn to install your Aegis and then follow up to win the game after that? We saw that fail against a Swordcraft deck, and against this particular Shadowcraft deck, we saw instead of playing Aegis, he was able to use Bahamut, and that gave him the extra, that board clear gave him the extra turn he needed to make the killing blow
Dark John as
happen.
well, showing us why it's such a high value card. But Hobo, his second deck is Shadow, and it's going to be a mirror matchup for this final game of this series of the round of 8.
Off the back of 2 Lion Spirits, a Dark John, 2 Judges of Retribution, so much clear on the side of Havencraft.
So much here, so much clear, so much banishing as well. So we'll see what this mirror matchup is going to be like. Neither player with a 1-drop.
A plethora of 2-drops here for Noah.
Plethora, good word.
Plethora. Ooh, just in time.
They're so fresh.
And again, we always talk about the importance of going first. Means that you get to dictate the pace of the game here. You can play Catacomb, then trade the 2-drop, and then your opponent is left with just a Catacomb.
Yeah, you get to decide and interpret whether or not you should go for face damage or whether you should board clear as well.
And I think certainly it's going to be the play.
Yeah, definitely. Still maintaining a fairly strong board this early in the game for yourself and clear off your opponent's board as well. And there is a Bone Chimera in the hand of Noah. We'll see if he decides to play that card this turn.
Could be a good choice.
Could be a good choice. He could Shadow Reaper Skull Beast as well. Maybe Soul Squasher Skull Beast as well. Just try to
I
get
think
more
Shadow
bodies
Reaper is
on
a
the
little
board.
dangerous just because it's going to be exposed to Orthrus.
That's correct.
And if Orthrus is dropped here, then Shadow Reaper actually avoids like a very potentially dangerous situation.
Yeah, definitely.
The question is whether Hobo is going to want to save the Shadow Reaper for that that situation.
We'll see what Hobo elects to do this turn. If it's the Orthrus, maybe he could trade the skeletons into the Soul Squasher or the Skull Beast as well, and then get another Catacomb on the field as well.
Hmm.
Definitely many plays available for Hobo because he's been able to go first in this matchup, definitely getting a strong advantage.
Absolutely. Thinking about his turn very carefully. And I think it's important you maintain good decision making in this mirror match because things can turn on its head so quick.
Right, yeah. We've seen it before where a game can snowball in terms of speed and get out of control really, really fast.
Hmm.
And to me, those are some of the most exciting games to watch.
It's got to be the Orthrus. Oh!
Ooh, hits a Soul Squasher. Really great.
You're mean.
She's go both to face. And it would be a big Catacomb if Hobo can place the Catacomb down and not lose too much pressure, but I think this Luriel is going to do really well in terms
going to
of
be able
removal.
to get rid of that 3-1 Catacomb, also trade in as well.
Wings are killing me.
And the Skull Beast can trade as well. This is going to be not a complete board clear, but a pretty substantial one for Hobo.
Just one skeleton left. And so I think Hobo's Evolve turn here needs to be pretty big. He draws a zombie party instead. And
He's had Cerberus for a while. That would trade in the Luriel real nice.
not the ideal situation. And we talked about this, right? Where you kind of want to make sure that you deny the Shadow Reaper. Because right now the Shadow Reaper is just sitting happily there. He's ready to pump up twice. And you have no Catacomb effect to kind of lead behind skeletons to give you any kind of pressure. Death's Breath on the way is going to be really important, I feel. But this Shadow Reaper is pretty strong, pretty
right.
good.
Yeah, there's Death. Oh, an Orthrus. Oh, that's absolutely nasty. And he's got plenty amount of shadows for Death's Breath next turn as well. But this could be a Death's Breath for Hobo as well. He's got it in his hand as well. But that is an
not to
absolutely
evolve the Shadow Reaper, which is important. It's going to leave it at 3 health, meaning something like Zombie Party can get rid of it.
Right.
But he's content with just saving those resources.
And he's still got the Grimnir himself, so he can get a ward on his side of the field as well. But I think Noah's in a great position for a Death's Breath, depending on what Hobo does this turn.
7 shadows apiece right now.
Right. Difficult decisions. These could definitely determine the outcome of the game. But I really like this Grimnir play. He can play it, evolve, trade it into Cerberus, or excuse me, the Orthrus. But that's going to be his last evolve for him.
Yeah. I think Mimi is a better resource to spend here.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Yeah, but that's a 1 cost for 2 damage right to face. One of the most efficient cards in the game. And Noah definitely content to spend his second Evolve Orb, knowing that he's still got 1 more in the bank. And Hobo on his last one as well. And this is turn 7. This is when you really want to be seeing the Ectors coming out. But a zombie party going to clear off that warded zombie left with 3 health and give Hobo some zombies of himself as well.
Hobo definitely focusing on trying to clear the board because he doesn't want any kind of buff to happen.
Yep, definitely. The story of this game has been tempo trading back and forth. Both players trying to earn the upper hand without giving away too much, without giving any window where their opponent might be able to take an opportunity away and run with it.
I wonder what the option here is. Luriel is kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's no follower left with 1
Chimera,
defense.
You're still floating points. If you spend Phantom Howl, you could clear everything, but it's going to be Death's Breath. And he's just going to rely on the ward. That means that one of the zombies is going to remain.
So for something like an Ector next turn for Hobo, if he's able to draw it, and
Oh,
he did.
wow.
No way. And you still got the Cerberus in hand as well. He can save that Ector, knowing that it was turn 7 for Noah, and he didn't play Ector as well, so he probably doesn't have it in his hand either.
This is going to give him very solid board clear here.
Yeah, definitely.
Spending 12 shadows, or rather 9 of the 12, to fill out his board means that it's a very good opportunity to kind of just trade out 1 for 1 against the wards and then swing for 4 to the face.
And
He's spent
Hobo's,
Coco, he does.
yep, he spends Coco, and he's still got another Cerberus in his hand as well. This is going to be real difficult for Noah to deal with, especially with another Lyrial Archer coming into his hand.
And the big thing is Noah doesn't have an evolution orb anymore, which means that something like a Phantom Howl is much less dangerous.
Right. That definitely does not have the reach he needs to finish off this game.
My boss works us to the bone. My boss works us to the bone.
Noah emptying out his hand here.
So we've got 9 damage if you play the Cerberus here and swing with Ector.
I think that's definitely the play. I mean, Hobo's got to sense blood in the water. He's going to get the ward as well. I like that. So in case a top deck Hector won't be able to clear it off.
Yep.
And ensuring that he has a full board, he plays Catacomb this turn as well. Probably going for another 5 damage. Noah put in a really tight spot by his teammate.
Yep, I think Hobo just took the
Yeah, I
last
think
move.
he did.
Shadow Reaper will get real buff, but it's not going to matter, right?
That's
It's
right.
already too late. And I think that was really quite a tragedy for Noah, kind of not getting his cards when he needed it. He
Right,
certainly
right,
was in
right.
a position where he could have used a big boost to catch him back up in tempo. And this is, I think, kind of the hard part of going second, is you're always playing catch up. And on top of that, you don't get the cards you need,
Right.
and you can't get that burst of pressure. Your evolution orbs were very much defensive rather than aggressive.
Yeah.
I think that, who knows? Maybe evolving the Shadow Reaper way back when to avoid the zombie party insta-gib was the thing to do.
Interesting. Maybe that would have changed the tempo enough to give Noah the upper hand that he needed.
I mean, if Hobo was dead set on removing the Shadow Reaper as well, there could be a situation, because in the future, Hobo actually did use that enhanced zombie party to give him some board space that he spent very efficiently. And you think about, okay, if you had evolved the Shadow Reaper, if you caused the extra card to be spent, then he wouldn't have the zombie party later on, you know?
Right.
So there's a lot of interesting paths that it could have gone. And I think Noah made the best plays he could have given the information that he had. But Hobo will move on.
Well played to both players, and this is a new face we're seeing advance to the semifinals, knocking out Noah, our highest points earner in the tournament currently.
Let's take a look at the bracket and see what is happening here. Mana Surge's J Hobo will go on, so it was a team kill. And it looks like we've got another team kill here. EXG the 7th versus Gengar. And Limit 787, another repeat top 8 finisher against Omega. So the bracket is very packed. And of course, at the bottom, Gregory H2O versus Yumi. It's going to be interesting to see how. I mean, Mana Surge is definitely earning points, right? They've got a dude in the top 4, Noah in the top 8, possibly another finals representation.
And EXG with 3 members on their side of the field.
EXG is going to continue their trend of having the most players just receiving points in
But they're
general.
guaranteed to have someone in the finals, or the semifinals.
Yes.
And with the possibility of going to the finals as well, Omega still has to climb up to the semifinals and the finals as well.
This might be EXG's tournament to take. How fortuitous that we had Vindy on as a guest. Before we continue, make sure you guys check out the Twitch panels to look at information for our giveaway. We're looking to give 3,500 vials away, a legendary of your choice. Definitely make sure you get all the information about that. Sign up. Do it. Do it. Do it.
You know you want to. I would want to, except I can't. That would be a conflict of interest.
Interest. Conflict of interest. Hey, speaking of conflicts of interest,
What's up?
who do you want to win this week's tournament?
Oh, I think it's a very fair battle across the board. It will be difficult to see. This is me avoiding a very difficult question to answer, like Rainey is so apt to do, and I'm very poor at this.
I'm going to say EXG.
You're gonna say EXG.
I'm gonna say-
I would like to see EXG advance as well. Now that I know that we can be on the same page, and I don't have to like just completely disagree with you, I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon.
The reason why I say EXG is because I want to see EXG racing with Mana Surge in terms of points. I want to see EXG come up, and they have so many people trying over and over and over again. Tons of people very committed to participating.
Right.
To see them be rewarded with a first place finish is going to be really important. So here it goes. Is it going to be Gengar or the 7th?
Gengar going with a Dragon deck against the 7th Shadow deck.
We
There's already a 1-drop in
seeing,
the hand for the 7th.
Yeah, we're seeing already kind of how this game is going to play out. Zell is going to obviously be telling of the combos that Gengar is looking to play.
Right.
Got the Draconic Fervor in the mulligan is not the most fantastic, right? You really want an early point an early ramp that will set up the better Sybil rather than a Sybil that just puts you up to 6 and kind of like we're not in overflow yet. You want one ramp at least before that.
One ramp or some board clear as well. There's a lot of options that Dragon really wants. He does get to draw the Blazing Breath, but I think Zell for tempo here is really nice, considering that Catacomb won't be coming out until the next turn.
Yeah, and Dragon go first. I hate to harp on it so much, but it's so important.
It's very important.
So important against Shadowcraft. 2 cards on the board means that there's, you know, maybe a Blazing Breath with the Zell.
But if Gengar plays this Alia, then that's the Prince Catacomb next turn for the 7th.
Interesting. So I think he's going to go for the Ayla.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There it is. And, you know, you win some, you lose some, right? Gengar is making a choice here. He's definitely saying, I want the ramp.
Yep. The ramp is absolutely valuable.
What are you hiding inside?
There it is. We'll see if this is the downfall of Gengar here as the board plays out. Necro Assassin in the hand, too, is actually a fantastic card to have in this matchup.
Well.
Yes, Wrath Drake. And we talked about that a little bit yesterday. How we saw that was so valuable for, was it Les that was running the Wrath Drake as well as the Imperial Dragoon?
I can't remember, but it's absolutely, it's very strong in the Shadow matchup, where it can essentially just clear the board, doing 1 damage when it's played on 5 or 3 damage if it's played on 8. And this Alia is going to be able to trade twice into 2 followers because the Goblin and Catacomb only had 1 attack each. So definitely getting great value off that, and when it's dead, of course, you get the Orb as well.
Yeah. And this is going to be great because on turn 5, you can trade Ayla, then play the Sybil, put yourself at 7 orbs, and get the healing if you need. And once that healing starts, especially because you're on turn 5, you can evolve the Sybil, you just gain so much value out of it. I think it's a very good position to be in. Just need to be careful of any kind of weird Necro Assassin situation.
Right, yeah, Necro Assassin is not a card we see too often, but it can be absolutely devastating when you put all your eggs into the Sybil basket or all your eggs into the Ouroboros basket.
Here comes the Sybil.
Yep.
There's a lot more where that came from.
And he's not on Overflow. You talked about this. It's real sad.
He can swing the Ayla.
Yeah, he could swing the Ayla. He's probably going to do that just to put himself on Overflow. That's
there it is.
Real nice.
He's going to get the heal here.
Yep.
And that's what we were talking about, right? You ideally want at least one instance of ramp so that you don't play that weak turn 5 Sybil. And in this situation, Gengar was able to get the good one, which changes the dynamic of it so much. Necro Assassin coming in, we were talking about how strong this card is in this matchup.
Yep. Necro Assassin and Lurching Corpse as well. I love that combo specifically. On turn 6, you can get rid of 2 followers just for 6 cost. But this is an Ouroboros play coming out for Gengar. He's been able to ramp successfully just a few times. And he still has Draconic Fervor as well. More ramp and card draw and healing as well.
And we're in the space where Enhanced Wrath Drake is a real thing.
Oh, yeah. Next turn that could be coming out because there's not a massive board. There is Zombie Party, not next turn, but the turn after that on turn 7 is going to be able to give him a sizable board. But this is an absolutely massive Ouroboros that I think the 7th is going to have to evolve to trade into.
And that's just going to provide Gengar more healing. He's got healing from this Ouroboros. He can continue playing it for direct damage. He's also got Draconic Fervor, which I think is becoming more of a dead card in his hand almost, but it will provide that healing.
And the draw as well. Don't forget the draw. That's crucial. Lightning Blast as well.
Lightning Blast.
And Breath of the Salamander. These are the options that Gengar really wants to have at this stage in his game when the Shadow player is on turn 6, turn 7, being able to clear off the board and keep himself topped up at a fairly high amount of health. He's on 14 health. That's with some healing as well.
Now the question is, right, obviously an Enhanced Lightning Blast is going to be great against Shadowcraft. You prevent him shadows, you get rid of everything, and you allow your followers on board to swing right now. It looks like it's going to be Rahab Breath and a little bit of a buff up for the Rahab. So I really like that play. Gengar putting a lot of pressure onto the 7th here.
Yeah, a perfect evolved Ouroboros going right for face is absolutely stellar. We're going to see if the 7th elects to play the Zombie Party this game. Ouroboros is looking like a real juicy target. Of course, Gengar's just going to heal up for 3 when it's destroyed.
What is the way to survive this? Is it Catacomb, Necro Assassin, hope it hits the Rahab and then evolve. Okay, it's gonna be Zombie Party. Really? So he's
He's got Grimnir.
So he's got 9 damage
He doesn't have
and
an
the
Evolve
board
Orb,
clear
right.
and the double ward.
And with Ouroboros in his hand again, I don't think that the 7th is going to be able to answer this.
Yeah,
and
he's only
Gengar is
got
going to
1
be able
health.
to take this game.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think this is it. There's no good answer. With 1 health left and knowing that the Ouroboros was in hand, the 7th has to tap out. There it is. Picture perfect Dragoncraft game.
Yep,
You
very
get
great.
exactly the options that you want, even the Tempo Zell, and kind of in much the same way as a card like Grimnir, right? You look at a card like Zell, and it's just, hey, it's okay, right? A 2 cost for 2/2 is always okay in Shadowverse, right?
Right.
It's a very strong kind of stat line to have.
It's perfectly efficient
Mhm.
in a way.
And if you get it early, you play it early. If you get it late, you play it late, you get that storm, you're in an even better situation.
So either way, you get tempo in the early game or the combos
Mhm.
in the late game.
And that's how Gengar kind of positioned himself, was able to drop that Zell, get some board control by trading in, then drop the Ayala, get more board control by trading in, and buff up for that Sybil. That's a very strong early game for Dragoncraft, if the situation plays out like that.
The 7th is going to be able to go first in this matchup. We've talked about it before, but it's absolutely crucial. It most definitely determines who sets the tempo, who is making the decisions that the other player has to answer for, is who goes first.
What-
Specifically in the Shadow
what
on
is that?
Shadow matchup.
What is he running?
My boss works us to the bone.
This is very interesting. The Rabbit Necromancer archetype of Shadowcraft decks we saw were actually, I think, relatively successful. I really like the idea that you can both trade kind of in like Fangblade-esque, like a mini Fangblade, where you can like
Right.
trade into a card, you lose a card, and the last word effect is do damage to face. But it kind of there's that double effect of both like continuing to do damage to face as well as getting board control.
Right, you're kind of putting your opponent in a weird position. They have to trade into it and take the 2 damage, or they're just going to take 3 damage and attack. Unless you're Haven, and of course you've got Black Inscription, you can just banish that away.
Yes, Banish is very, very strong.
And a Soul Hungry Wraith in the hand for Gengar, not a card we see very often at all. It has a Necromancy effect where it gains Ambush. So it can be very lethal. If you've got the shadows to spin for it, though, that is.
Let's see, the 7th is thinking a little bit.
He's going to go with Grimnir as opposed to the Bone Chimera.
Leaves a Sergeant behind, and there's no Catacomb on 3 here for either player, interestingly enough. And so Shadow Reaper is going to be the choice, and got the 2/2 skeleton dude with the helmet.
Yep, he's got the followers on the board to buff up that Shadow Reaper, and the 7th is going to have to make a decision whether or not he trades
boy.
in with the Catacomb. I think that's definitely going to make it real easy and feel real
He
good.
could
to
go
trade in.
face here
He's
for
going for face,
lots
though.
of pressure, yeah. I think, you know what? Especially against the Shadow Reaper, I mean, we saw it last week as well being so effective. Against a Shadow Reaper, just start racing face, you know?
Right.
Force your opponent to, on their turn, spend time trading into you rather than buffing up the Shadow Reaper on your turn, and then their turn comes and they can continue to buff it up, and then they swing face.
And especially with the Grimnir with 3 defense, and you see that your opponent only has 2 followers with 2 defense aside from the Shadow Reaper.
Oh, don't hit the Grimnir.
It's a Catacomb.
Pretty good. Means you only have to spend 1 to take down the ward. It's going to be the Evolve to do it, which I think is fine as well.
Yeah. Still, this is also a massive amount of face damage if Gengar chooses to do it, but that just kind of leaves the Shadow Reaper with 1/1. Even though it'd be a shame to waste the Orthrus's buff on the Spartoy to trade into the Lyrial Archer, for example.
Yeah.
It could be 7 damage if he wants to do it, putting the 7th at 13 health as well.
13 health, but 1 step behind.
That's right.
That's kind of the trade-off. You're going to be giving the 7th a ton of shadows because you got a huge Catacomb off. There's a possibility of something like a Phantom Howl waiting. You're already at 13 points of health. Phantom Howl Evolve is...
Pretty low, yeah.
Yep.
Getting more in reach of those aggressive cards that Shadowcraft has in its repertoire.
Gonna throw away the Reaper. Saving the 4 damage for face.
Yep.
It's going to be a mix of aggression as well as defense. 3/1/1 tokens.
Now the 7th has got the Soul Squasher to take off that Orthrus and an evolved Bone Chimera to trade into the 4/2 Sergeant. Definitely seems like a good play. We'll see what he decides to do. He still has followers on his board as well to completely clear the board if he so chooses, and also get some face damage. So a really great position that the 7th has found himself in.
Gotta spend the shadows.
But with such a massive board and a Bone Chimera as well possibly coming out, he's going to be able to earn those shadows right back.
Interesting they didn't throw the Skull Beast in.
Yeah, and gain the extra shadows.
Mhm.
Skull Beast probably is not going to last for very much longer. Either way.
Gets 2 skeletons out of it and continues to put pressure to face. 5 slots filled for the 7th. We're finally on turn 5.
And the
What
Soul
is
Hungry-
this Wraith gonna do?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that's not the play to make. Just having a follower with ambush and leaving
Yeah.
the 7th with a massive board already, and he's gonna go with that. He might want to evolve just to trade in.
And he will. He will do so.
Souls warm my broken heart.
Souls warm his broken heart. That guy's cold.
And
You
this
need
is
to
interesting
consume
because
souls.
the 7th, even if he had a Cerberus, he couldn't play it this turn because the Wraith has ambush and he can't trade his own followers in. So there's, and he can't destroy his own followers unless he had a Soul Conversion, for example.
He basically has to swing face, doesn't have board space to put wards up.
But Gengar already saw that there was a Necro Assassin in the 7th deck. And so he's playing a big risky game here, knowing that that card could possibly be coming out.
There's no way for him to gain board space, though. This is a big
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
He can't suicide any of his cards. I think the next trial for Gengar will also be big. He has a few good options, but not the best, because he's being put very, very close to lethal here.
Very close. Definitely the next turn could spell the end for Gengar if this draw is not absolutely what he needs. Shadow Reaper, not going to be any defense.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the 7th, bringing this game to 1-1.
So now the situation you see is the Shadowcraft deck is out of the way. What is the 7th going to bring to try to fight against this soul-hungry Wraith Shadowcraft deck?
Right.
It seemed like there was not enough, kind of the situation wasn't right for the Wraith, right? He kind of just had to play it because, I mean, what else are you going to do? The situation didn't seem right. Maybe on the next roll, he's going to be able to get a better set of cards, a better set of plays to set up for that Wraith, and we're going to see something more satisfying from it. And especially when you're not having to race the board as you are with Shadowcraft
This one's for my
against
family.
Dragon, it might be real big. What is the best way for Dragon to remove that card? It's not really a great option, right? Blazing Breath, if you can target a different card and have it AoE across.
Yeah, on turn 6 with the Breath of the Salamander for sure.
And that's
But-
assuming that there's a different follower that you could even target, right?
But the Shadowcraft players are completely aware of that. And typically they choose to buff up the Reaper to have 3 defense just in case.
Yeah.
To make that
He's
play.
got the Reaper as well as the Wraith, so there's a lot of different cards that are just a little bit too beefy for you to handle in a comfortable way.
The 7th had a Dragon Oracle in his hand, and he elected to mulligan and get rid of it. Real interesting choice there. I guess he wanted more board clear for the early stages of the game. And healing as well, because he pulled out the Draconic River as well as the Breath of the Salamander, and keeping the Grimnir. So electing to keep with options that'll keep him more safe, I think is a really great choice.
So this is interesting. Gengar going first has the 1 and the 2, and meanwhile the 7th has a handful of options, right? You've got the early Isle, you've got Sybil, you've even got Fervor, you've got early Ward, and then Sahak. So once you, on the turn after you play Sybil, you can Sahak to continue to try to extend your presence on the board.
I really like the Alia here as opposed to the Grimnir. With Grimnir, you're just giving the Skull Beast a target to trade into, but you're keeping yourself safe from any amount of face damage.
The Shadow Reaper comes out of ambush and gets buffed up to 2-2. Orthrus to take down Grimnir, and that Shadow Reaper is getting more buff, but it's still too early on, and so something like Salamander would certainly remove it.
Salamander would remove it, and that's 2 orbs, and that doesn't.
But this kind of denies the ramp. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so Isla is going to be the choice, and maybe Evolve to trade here.
Yeah, just to get rid of the Reaper.
Yeah.
Giving yourself ramp, you do leave the Orthos on the side of the field, but I think it's a valuable trade for the
Yes.
Dragoncraft to get that ramp.
Yes, definitely want that first ramp.
Because next turn he's got the Sybil, and he's going to be able to put himself in overflow as well.
Just to Cerberus, and has the extra Reaper to set up some kind of more intricate late game Reaper pump,
Right.
which I think is certainly more effective. Gengar choosing to play aggressive here. Orb into face.
Yeah, he's got the Reaper, and he's got Soul Squasher as well. And with 2 Evolve Orbs left for the 7th, Soul Squasher is definitely going to have plenty of targets, especially if he chooses to evolve the Sybil and trade into the Orthrus this turn.
What is this situation? Okay, so he plays a Sybil, and he can get rid of one of the cards here. Probably the Cerberus?
Probably the Cerberus because he could still be evolved.
Yeah.
And the Orthrus is kind of stuck at 3-4.
Nope.
But he's going to go for the...
So he's going to heal up to 14. Cerberus is going to provide 5, plus 4 potentially from Coco and Mimi. He's 9 damage in hand. Soul Squasher. Gets rid of Sybil, gets rid of the healing as a side effect of that.
You can Shadow Reaper and Coco and Mimi on this turn as well. Evolving the Shadow
Nice.
Reaper, putting it on 3 defense, preventing any kind of
Breath of the Salamander, which we talked about a little bit. And I think Gengar smells the situation. He knows he's running out of options in hand, and I think he knows he kind of has to go. Oh, Rob is a draw here. Salamander would push you into just the Zell, and you can't remove the Shadow Reaper.
Yeah, Salamander and then Zell. Either way, there's still going to be a massive amount of damage coming out from Gengar with the Coco on the Reaper next turn. But the Ward, he's going to be able to evolve the Zell and attack with the Raha as well.
So this is his way of trying to clear out. Cerberus and Little Soul Squasher to clear.
Yep, I think that's the play. And the Rahab's going to be up to 4 attack.
Oh, he's going to go for the Goblin and use the Breath. Yeah, and I think that's fine.
Right. But still, that's a massive Shadow Reaper. We'll see what this draw is going to be. He's on turn 7. It could be a Nectar. It's going to be a Cursed Soldier. That's 4 damage directly to face.
Oh, no. No Evolve Orbs.
No Evolve Orbs. Yeah, he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to go for face with the Reaper. He's going to have to take out the Ward.
What an awkward situation. The
Yeah.
ordering is just not quite right.
Yeah, there's still healing in the hand for the 7th with Draconic Fervor and also Ouroboros as well. But both players are completely gone from their Evolve Orbs. They don't have their Evolve Orbs anymore.
Gotta use the Shadow Reaper to trade in.
Wonder if the Cursed Soldier is going to be coming down. It is. He's going to be able to do 4 damage directly to face,
Oh, boy.
putting him in lethal range. But
This is tough.
this is really tough.
He cannot...
So Hakuel is kind of a dead card. You don't have a neutral follower in your hand.
If he uses Fervor, he will barely survive, right? Because he'll take 5, then 2, 7. He'll be alive at 1 health. Sahak is not really going to give him
And
anything.
with a Coco as well, he could easily trade the Zell into the Reaper. I think he's
Interesting. And then use the Blazing Breath.
Blazing Breath. Still, a Phantom Howl with Coco could be enough to finish off the game. He's going to give himself a Catacomb as well. A really great draw there. And he's got Coco next turn as well. Oh, but double heal, double draws. Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Oh no. Draconic Fervor pulling double Dragon Oracle. The third Dragon Oracle and Lightning Blast. But still, that's 6 healing done.
Yeah.
That's got to feel really good. And he can go for face for plenty of damage, and he's got Lightning Blast next turn. So depending
What
on
is
what
a draw? It's a mummy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage here.
And with the Lightning Blast next turn, he can
He's got the
completely clear off
enhanced
this
lightning
board.
blast, and you're left with 1 shadow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh! Is there anything in the world at 1 shadow that Shadowcraft could pull that would
To do 5 damage directly to
do
face.
5 damage? I don't think there is.
3 Cerberuses? 3 Cerberi for 6
That's
damage?
true. He's already got 1, so he has to
Magically conjure up another.
conjure up another.
It's going to be the Lightning Blast, the absolute dream Lightning Blast for a
Oh,
Dragoncraft player
man.
to get rid of those Catacomb followers.
Oh,
Oh, and the
man.
Mummy, he's not going to be able to win this game.
Oh,
The 7th,
my gosh.
taking it away.
What?
Amazing.
And even though he had the double Dragon Oracles from the Draconic Fervor, he was still
it
able to
didn't
get
matter.
the options he needed.
The Draconic Fervor healing.
Oh my gosh.
This guy is playing an MMO right now. He is. He brought a balanced party composition. He had the ward as a tank, Ouroboros as DPS, and he brought healers.
He must have had a clan meeting before
Yeah.
this game, and at some breakfast restaurant or a diner, just got everybody together and they talked about their strategy, and it paid off.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that diner.
I only talk about it because I've done it before.
Yeah. It's a great experience.
It's ethereal. It's magical.
Let's take a look at the bracket. What a crazy way to end the game. And so the 7th will be the chosen EXG member to move on. Gengar actually running dry of options there. And he had a bunch of shadows, but didn't get... I mean, the big focus card that you look to is Ector, right? How could have Ector impacted that game?
Right.
At what look? I mean, he was super low, right? So Ector certainly would have done well. And it's just the timing of it.
Right. And
But the 7th with a lot of self-healing,
Mhm.
despite the draw not really giving him... I mean, it did end up giving him the Lightning Blast, which I guess is like the key,
yeah.
You drew 4 cards, 3 of them were Oracles, 1 of them was Lightning Blast. and
Chances
that was
were
what
pretty
you
good that
needed.
you'd get it in your hand, but still, there
Yeah.
there was a lot of interesting options in the Shadowcraft deck for Gengar as well.
Mhm.
With the Cursed Soldier and the Wraith, the Soul Hungry Wraith,
Yeah.
cards that we don't see typically that often.
Yeah, and he made it all the way to the top 8 with it, so
Yeah.
that's pretty
Not
good.
bad, not bad.
Let's go ahead and get a little bit of a refresher and shake that game off
Mhm.
as the 7th moves on. But if you guys want to join the Shadowverse Open Action, you could go ahead and go to the website, shadowverse.ng.io. How fast can you say it? Shadowverse.ng.io.
Shadowverse.nge.io.
It's pretty good.
No, not bad.
Pretty good.
We'll work on it. We'll come back to you. Don't
Yeah.
judge us just barely on that.
If you head to that website, you can figure out how to sign up, what the rules are, when the broadcast is happening, when the tournaments are happening, all that kind of
You
stuff.
can check out our EP album. It's up there for download.
Sterling Rain.
It's not out there.
You
hold
don't
me to
want to
that.
listen to it.
If it even was up there, you don't want to listen to it.
Yeah, you don't want to listen to it. But if you want to talk about it, you could definitely go to @WatchNGE and talk about, hey, that EP that we don't want to listen to, stop it. Just drop it.
Because you know that Rainey would be the lead singer. He'd be the front man.
Yeah, and
With hair like that, you've got to be.
Sterling would be the contemplative guitar and harmony singer.
That's how I play the guitar.
That's kind of gross.
A little bit.
It's a little bit disgusting.
Let's not draw attention to it.
The way the phalanges move.
The phalanges.
The phalanges.
The bones in my fingers. That's just a strange word. I remember learning that in biology class, like in high school. Phalanges.
What the heck are we even doing? We're okay.
Do you have a least favorite word?
A least favorite word? Moist.
Yeah. Moist?
Moist.
A lot of people hate that word.
Yeah, moist.
I like moist because it's a perfect word. I mean, the way it sounds, it describes just with the sound that the word makes. You know exactly what it means.
Whenever
it's
you
a
play
perfect word.
Sybil,
It's a perfect word.
when you play Sybil, that effect,
Mhm.
that's moist. Have you ever paid attention to Sybil's animation? It's just like water just sploosh and it just
Oh, yeah,
bubbles
yeah.
around.
Israfil as well has that like water droplet.
No, Israfil's is kind of cool though.
It is pretty. Yeah.
Israfil's is more like refined. Sybil is just like. Bleh.
Interesting.
This is why I can't be a good Shadowverse
This is
player.
what keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Thinking about these things.
Instead of thinking about what to do, I'm just looking at these animations and I'm thinking, what the heck is going on here?
All right, going into the next round of 8 game between EXG Omega and Limits 787.
This one's for my
All
family.
players we've seen here before in the top 8, they've made it before. Can they advance to the semifinals? We'll see here in just a moment. With Omega on his sword deck and Limits on his Dragoncraft deck, and there's ramp and ward available for Limits to use.
Erica is pretty. She said you must die.
You must die. She's not messing around.
If I invited you to sit down and play a card game, and before we started, I said you must die,
I'd probably leave.
you'd probably leave.
Call the
But
police.
Who wants to play card games with this crazy person?
The sky's my destination.
Is anybody who says something nice? Is anybody?
Is violence all you know? I think that's Havencraft. Is violence
Uh-huh.
something like that? I mean, that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
but it's
so
kind of
she's,
also
trying to keep the group together. Doesn't
Yeah.
want strife to
Yeah.
come in between all these friends. I assume they're friends.
they have to be friends. They're playing card games all day with each other.
In the campaign, they meet each other. Some of them.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Arissa meets Luna, and then Luna says, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you now." And Arissa's like, "Oh my God, no! You don't know what that means." It's kind of funny. Made me chuckle.
All right, we've got some options here. We've got Oracles, Alas, and Grimner is going to be the choice here. Kind of stopping more of that ticking damage. That Katana Unsheath has already flourished her blade enough.
And the whole Soul Sweet going to be able to take out that Grimnir, leaving Omega with a Knight as well on his side of the field, and a Zell with 1 defense.
Double Oracle.
Can't really trade. You got to go for face damage.
Double Oracle.
Double Oracle. Do it, man. Come on. You know you want to. I think we all want to try that at least one time in our life.
Double Oracle.
He's gonna go with the alien.
I wanted a double Oracle so bad, but it probably was a better choice.
Yeah, you get tempo. You have a follower on your side of the field.
Oh, but you could be ramping,
Darn
man.
these players for making smart decisions.
You could be ramping so hard.
But he still can with the Sybil, and he could still bring the Oracle next turn.
He still ramps really well.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the opportunity again to make that same line of play. Trade in the Aella, play the Sybil, get the heal. Everything's good.
Yep, putting himself in overflow. The Sybil.
He's got the daddy.
He's got the daddy.
Zeus is in
Zeus.
hand. We'll see if he comes to play.
I did not know that Zeus was referred to as the daddy.
The daddy.
You learn something new every day.
World blue.
He talks about how he's all the father of stuff.
Oh, you're right. He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the father.
Yeah. What a lamer.
What a normie.
I wish they would add in some just like really bad puns
It won't be long now.
to his voice lines. Just like a bunch of dad jokes.
A bunch of dad jokes.
Yeah.
All must come to an end.
All right, this is looking bad. That Knight evolve, Luminous Knight, lots of damage to face, lots of cards on board. And you're still not quite at that play point area where you're getting something like a Grimner clear. He's Oracling now.
Mm-hmm. Finally
Could
using those
Oracle on
oracles.
Rahab.
He's trying to get the options. He was going to be on turn 10 anyway with the first Oracle. But now, getting the draw, he's got options to play with. He's going to be able to evolve and take out the Mage as well. This is great because now he's still got the turn 10 Grimnir and also
Yes.
the Zeus and Ouroboros available to him.
When your opponent is at 6 play points and you're at 10, that's when you start feeling the tears down the cheek.
Yep. Knowing anytime a Bahamut or a Grimnir could come out and
Mm.
really put up the strain on for this Swordcraft player.
So Omega really has to think very hard because there's a plethora of options that Limits could potentially choose from, and he has no idea what those 4 cards are.
Right.
They're pretty good cards, too.
Yeah, you could evolve the Albert, trade into the Rahab, and then go face for 2 damage. Get those little pinpricks in. And then Grimnir, of course, is not able to get rid of the Albert, but then there's still Zeus available. This is a massive hand for Limits.
Oh, boy.
It all ends here.
So the Grimnir is going to wipe out everything here.
Grimnir is going to spell out the word value on this board.
Now, the okay thing is he was able to tag on 4 damage to that.
Right. Yeah, he was able to get a decent amount of face damage, but still, that's a lot of resources committed to that play, and that Knight making it all the way to turn 10. He's the survivor, man. He's the real hero.
Yeah. That guy was a trooper. Oh, another Luminous Mage.
Hmm.
I really like that option just in the sense of trying to hold your Evolve Orbs for Albert specifically.
Right. Yeah, I think he's going to choose to do that.
You are done for.
Get another
Getting a little bit of optimization here as well.
bonus damage from that Knight's ability, putting that onto the Katana Unsheathed Tachi.
But he's still 2 turns away, man. It feels so slow because Limits has been sitting here on 10 play points for forever. He's going to be able to do 5-6
My shield.
with the Albert drop. He has 3 other play points. Geno, the last word is just going to heal up Limits, and so
Right.
it's actually kind of uncomfortable, the fact that he can't clear Ouroboros without kind of going backwards in terms of his overall goal. It
Right.
might just be a little bit too late. Maybe surviving is the option.
Right.
But if you extend one more turn, who's to say that you'll still have cards on board, right? 10 damage is the exact number you want to be for Enhanced Albert with Evolve.
Right.
I think he's going to try. He's going to try to fill his board and hope that at least 1 or 2 of them can survive.
Right. He's going to need the Lyrial and a Knight, or maybe
He
the
needs
Taji and the 2 Knights.
2 damage to be remaining here. What is the play? Oh,
Oh no, Breath of the Salmon are going to clear the board, and there's going to be a ward as well from Rahab if he
Yeah.
plays that this turn.
very, very safe here.
Very safe. And Zeus is a risky card in this this sword matchup, because Tsubaki can of course just take it off the field immediately, completely. You get the Storm for the 5 damage, but the ward, the Bane, all of that is useless. You don't get the full effect of any of those.
Yeah. Very, very tough situation here for Omega.
Yeah, and Evolved Albert would be able to clear off the Rahab and get another 5 damage. And you still save the Tsubaki in your hand for a Zeus or maybe a Bahamut if that comes down.
Yeah, the Zeus would clear out the Albert. Sitting at 7 health.
You're safe with me, Captain. I failed you, my Jarl.
He should have whole sold first.
Yeah, I think you're right. If you whole sold first, I would have given him the Knight. Alas, Ouroboros though going to be able to take off the pirate there.
Blimey.
And he needs something big here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can Tsubaki. That's going to heal him up.
Now
So you're going to be
Tsubaki's
doing
gone.
14
Yeah.
damage, but he has 15 health. And this is the eternal headache of fighting against Dragoncraft, right?
Yeah, that Ouroboros, man, really fitting its lore as being the never-ending serpent, the one that eats its own tail.
If he draws a Quick Blader,
Ooh.
if he draws a Quick Blader on his next turn, I might have to throw something across the room.
Quick Blader with the enhanced Albert and Tsubaki going for exactly 15 damage. Ooh.
Is there any way for him to clear? He can't interact with Tsubaki. He has a Scyther for the Lyrial. He's going to play the Ouroboros, and I like that choice. Set up another turn of healing. If he lets the Ouroboros swing, it's over.
Right. Ooh, Fangblade.
The Fangblade is going to set up a situation where, is that even worth it?
You keep him right at 15 health unless you evolve it, but that just puts Ouroboros right back in Limit's hand.
The thing is, if you evolve the Fangblade, then you lose out on the extra damage on Albert. So you do 5, he heals, so it's going to be a net loss of 2 health. You do 10 damage with unevolved Albert.
Won't be long now.
But you get to keep the Fangblade Slayer alive because it gains 10 defense.
Yes.
So a possibility to attack with it another turn.
This is so dangerous. Oh, he swings with the Tsubaki.
Putting him at 9 health, we'll see.
And I think... Oh, the Israfil, but it can't swing.
It can't swing.
He
He'll be able
can't
to
play
heal for
Israfil.
4, but that's not gonna be enough.
He can't swing into the Fangblade. He needs to play Zeus and swing Tsubaki, I believe. Maybe a combination of Scyther and something. Scyther and Ouroboros? No, not enough play points to do that.
Yeah.
Israfil's swing can clear it all.
Scyther and then Sahakweal.
Oh no,
Sahakweal to
Sahak
Israfil as
Israfil
well. Yeah.
can swing the Tsubaki.
Yeah, that's a good 10 play.
Fighting is so cruel.
Fighting is so sorrowful.
Yeah, clears off the board, but there's going to be even more damage coming from Omega next turn as well.
Is nothing.
Oh my gosh, he doesn't have the Evolve Orb anymore. Albert's coming in, 9 health left.
He's going to have to play it.
If he leaves the Sahak, takes 4 damage, Zeus doesn't quite have enough. Oh my god! Breath Drake?
Mm.
He can clear Albert for sure.
Right. He's going to give himself that ward. I really like that play. The chance that Omega has Tsubaki in his hand is very slim.
Mm-hmm. We'll go for the clear.
Yep.
Swing for 4. This top deck needs to be gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And
Maid Leader could get...
draw something?
Yeah. The Luminous Mage or Albert.
Luminous Mage I don't think would help.
I should
Yeah.
have seen this.
Oh, and that's
And
going to be
he
Omega
knows
tapping
Omega.
out. Yep.
Wow. He had to wait on that Albert resource for so long. The Fangblade Evolve was definitely the best way forward to try to pull yourself out of this constant situation where
Right.
you're just healing and doing damage and healing.
Right.
Swinging with the Tsubaki as well, I think, was a great choice. But you start thinking about it, right? If Tsubaki had stayed hidden, I mean, obviously the situation would have played out really different. But if Tsubaki had stayed in ambush and only the Fangblade had swung and you just pass again, Israfil could only swing on the Fangblade, then Israfil gets taken down because of the Bane. The 2 damage just pings Tsubaki, left with 1 health. Then you can play the Albert for the 10 damage total.
That's interesting.
But I don't actually know if that would have been... I mean, I would have to look back at Lemon's hand to see what options he had playing out the situation as he did, because definitely not swinging with the Tsubaki means that there's 4 extra health that you have to shoot through.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way,
what a
going-
tough situation.
Yeah.
Omega actually opts to swap to the Shadowcraft deck. He wants to put a win on the board in the Shadow Mirror matchup first before throwing his Swordcraft
Yep.
in.
He gets to go first as well. He's got the Catacomb, but he doesn't have a 2-drop to go with. The zombie party would get rid of the Skull Beast. Oh, he's got the 2-drop
Spartoy.
as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Right, this is the absolutely perfect curve. All Shadowcraft cards. No Lyrial Archers, none of that.
Not enough damage on board. Okay, has to play the zombie party, and I think that's smart.
Yep. Yeah, when you're going second, you want to play against the combos that you feel are going to be coming out the Catacombs when you see the Shadowcraft player
What are you
trying to set up for those plays.
Oh, drew into the Catacomb. Are they just going to ping pong back and forth?
Could be.
That's exactly like ping and pong are the sounds that I imagine the Skull Beasts make.
Because they're hollow. The skulls are hollow.
Yeah.
Skeletons as well.
Yep.
Making the song. When they just kind of like crash into each other. Is that how you think the Skull Beasts fight? They just kind of like ram.
Yeah. They
into
kind
each
of
other?
just.
Yeah.
And
I
when
guess
they
could
trade.
bite. They can bite, right?
Yeah. Hey, that Skull Beast just owned that Prince Catacomb.
He did, man.
Yeah. Wrecked.
Owned him, made him from dinner. But there's a second Catacomb in the hand for limits.
And now there's 2 cards of Catacomb. And that Skull Beast is going to make 2 skeletons.
Yep.
2 skeletons, extra shadow.
We've seen it before where a Catacomb can completely overfill your board, and so there could be a lot of skeletons that go to waste when you really ramp up those skeletons.
Yeah.
But I think
This-
in this instance, I think it's a great play.
This Skull Beast bought a ton of life insurance. He's about to cash out on it.
Yep.
He's about to, dive off the cliff, collect on the insurance, fake his death. I don't know. Can you imagine you just put all the last word effects on yourself and you fake your death and then you just take all the last word effects for yourself? That's what this Skull Beast is doing. That's how he's planning on gaming the system.
Interesting. Interesting. Ooh, and a Vault Archer here. I love that play.
The bones embrace me.
And Omega was able to get the Reaper out before limits. And with all of these skeletons that we've seen 3 Catacombs between the 2 players. And that Reaper is going to get massive.
No Orthrus in sight.
Yep.
If you draw it, it's a 1 in 3 chance. Doesn't
Skull
draw.
Cradle Widow.
That's
That
an interesting
could
card.
It is. We don't see it all that often. It could trade into the Lyrial Archer quite effectively, and then Limits would be able to draw a card when the Widow's destroyed. Or the Evolved Cerberus as well, being able to leave alive with 1 health. But either way, you're still just buffing up that Shadow Reaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shadow Reaper hiding in the smoke veil.
The smoke veil of its ambush.
Very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
Very sneaky.
And don't forget, the Skullbeast still has 2 summon skeletons
Mm-hmm.
when it dies.
Yeah, that Skull Beast is loaded.
Hmm.
I want to see him play all 3 of his catacombs into that Skull Beast. He just needs 1 more.
Believe.
Finally a break.
Upgraded
Believe
to
for that
3.
3rd catacomb.
Upgraded to 4. Ooh! There's his buddies. He cashed it on it all. 9 shadows, 2 skeletons, and a Cerberus to boot.
And there's a Soul Squasher and an Orthrus now in the hand for Omega. He's not going to be able to play them both. And he still has a Cerberus as well.
Yeah. I would imagine trying to find some way to evolve the Shadow Reaper is going to be the best choice.
I think you might be right, but then when you evolve the Shadow Reaper,
Gotta go.
you don't know if Limits could have a Soul Squasher in his hand as well.
Yeah. That's very true.
He's gonna
Oh, he's
evolve it.
doing it.
He wants that extra 2 damage. It's worth it to him.
7.
Oh, the Dark Conjurer, really great. He was able to draw that with the Soul Conversion.
Oh.
Ooh, what an advantage that Omega was able to earn.
Mm-hmm.
Limits.
One more. So he's got the Cerberus, Evolution Orb, Phantom Howl, 5 shadows, Orthrus to buff up more.
Yep.
There's a lot of aggression on the side of Omega.
A lot of aggression and only 12 health points remaining for Limits. And a 7/7 Shadow Reaper that he's going to have to chew through.
He needs to throw a lot of resources into that. Probably the Zombie Party in combination with an Evolution Orb.
Yeah, even if he evolves...
To do 4 damage means he
Yeah.
needs to throw away a skeleton or some other follower and then buff up the Shadow Reaper.
Yeah, the
Or
evolved-
spend Coco and Mimi.
Yeah, he still has Coco and Mimi, and the evolved Bone Chimera with Zombie Party and the skeleton would equal 7 damage. You'd have to get rid of that. And with the Shadow Reaper of his own, we'll see if Limits is able to buff his up
Nothing but a
to equal that of Omega's once he clears it off this turn.
Love shines when all else fails. Love surpasses death.
Ooh, he got Ector off of that. That's not bad.
Yeah, especially going first, being able to get that first Ector. Not a bad draw, not a bad draw indeed. And now Limits has his own Shadow Reaper. It still has Ambush. Omega's not going to be able to get rid of it this turn.
So he's
got
gonna
3 defense.
So Phantom Howl will give 4 + 2, 6, 8. No. Probably Cerberus on this turn.
Probably Cerberus, yeah, because Orthrus wasn't viable because the Shadow Reaper had 3 defense, and you've still got an opportunity to play Coco or Mimi.
So I think unless Limits draws Ward, I think the game's over.
I'll show you.
Right.
Hit you, so I'm gonna hurt you. Ow.
But he's still got Ector as well. 2 zombies are going to be able to be killed off. He's running Deathly Tyrant.
There better be mint in this deck somewhere.
Yep.
There better be. He's at 14 shadows
He has
actually.
14
That's
shadows.
pretty close.
Pretty close.
But like I said, if there isn't Ward drawn, I think he's dead this turn, even if he clears the whole board.
Yeah, I think you might
mean,
be
he is.
right. I think you might be right. You are right.
This head can't be taken.
Yeah, the zombies are going to be able to trade in, buff up the Shadow Reaper as well, but he's left wide open for a Phantom Howl with a Mimi as well.
Oh, look at how strong that Shadow Reaper is. Unfortunately, the one thing the Shadow Reaper can't do is tank. And
Can't
tank is
take.
exactly what he needs.
Yeah, what reach was afforded to Omega from the Phantom Howl, and we're going to another 1-1 series. All the games in the round of 8 have been taken
Yeah.
to the 3rd game.
And the tough part is, Omega has to go back to the Swordcraft deck.
Strong.
That's interesting. forced to go up against the Shadow deck.
What does a Swordcraft deck, how does that play against the Deathly Tyrant? I want to see, now that he's revealed that Deathly Tyrant is in his deck, I want to see what exactly the grand vision is.
Right. I mean, we don't know if he's got Manu in his deck.
Yeah.
Or how he's going to be able to really pull it off, because Ector is going to be consuming those shadows, and Death's Breath as well is going to be consuming those shadows.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's one of the big reasons why you want to run Minth, right? Because then you can spend those shadows, and then it doesn't matter that you have 0, because then it just changes the cost of everything. But it's a very expensive combo. Unless it can somehow survive, which I don't know why you would ever want to let it survive.
And with the Phantom Howls in the deck of Omega, it's going to be real difficult. Well, of course, he's on his sword deck as well, so that won't matter. He's going to be drawing the Deathly Tyrant.
Mulligan.
The game. I think you called it right. Limits mulliganing his entire hand and getting that 1-drop and the Catacomb as well.
Limit 787 going first.
Skeletonite, interesting card. It's got 3 attack and 1 defense. It's kind of a prime target for something like a Whole Souled Swing that Omega has in his hand. You get the skeleton, but typically the card Skeletonite does not have the chance to attack. Because it's just wiped off the board immediately. With 1 defense, it's a prime target for any kind of control that most decks would be running.
It was a fairly interesting turn 2 for Limits there. Got the Zombie Party. Couldn't really, uncomfortable to play it. Didn't really want to throw it onto the Quick Player. Instead, the Skull Beast would make the trade, lowering its defense from 2 to 1.
Right. Yeah, it is difficult. I think Catacomb might be the way to go. You do have the Zombie Party as well. He's going to go with the Skeleton Knight. And probably just that 1 take up base damage. We'll see what Omega decides to do to answer it. He does have the 2 Novice Troopers. And the Floral Fencer in hand for next turn.
He probably wants to crash into the Knight.
Yeah.
Taking the 3 damage this early on does not seem necessarily that nice. You could do Whole Souled and just avoid the situation entirely, avoid the 3 damage.
Just give Limits the Skeleton. It's not worth a 3-1 Skeleton. Right. And then you can choose to trade into one of these skeletons to prevent a Catacomb next turn, and still leaving the Lyrial Archer with 1 defense.
And that's exactly what he's going to do.
And Limits has still got the Zombie Party. He just drew into his Skull Cradle Whittle, so he's going to have some draw available to him as well.
What are you hiding inside?
I think the draw is important, right? We've seen games where Shadowcraft has kind of run out of cards and is just waiting for that top deck to make something happen.
Floral Fencer right here. Stable play on turn 4. Omega is not quite going to be able to clear up the board, but he's enabled himself to get a fairly massive board that Limits is going to have to answer into.
Limits is sitting on the 7-drop Ector as well. And Goblin Princess is really good at filling the board. Especially because that Goblin King comes as an aftermath. It guarantees that you can have a steady board in 1 turn, right?
Right. But it's a prime target for Tsubaki, for example, that Omega has in his hand right now. So we'll see if Limits decide to play the Goblin King next turn. Either way, Omega has got some choices to make with his board clear this turn. He's got the Ward. He does have the Evolved Albert as well. But doesn't know if there's another Catacomb in the hand of Limits. He could effectively clear the board with the Novice Trooper trading in, but I think he's going to play the
Albert.
Yeah. Go for a bit of board.
I think this is the right choice before you hit that 7 mark.
A little blood won't stop me.
Means that you have to work really hard to wipe out all these cards. So he does 7, and he still has a double Novice Trooper in the sidelines. He has Tsubaki on 7 to answer.
Yeah, that Goblin King is looking real nice. Goblin King maybe with a Zombie Party, get rid of the Steel-clad Knight. Or a Skull Cradle Whittle, maybe give yourself another follower on board, plus an option to draw once it's destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just going to be more face damage from Omega next turn with the Tsubaki. And then in the following turns, the 2 Novice Troopers that he's got in his hand as well. So I like that evolve. The Goblin King's not going to be a total dead drop. It's going to be able to trade and get rid of the Albert.
So this is
Yeah.
the end.
The Goblin King is going to be great. It forces Tsubaki to come out and
Yep.
sets up a scenario where Ector is going to be a big play.
Yep, definitely forces the Tsubaki. It's pretty much the only option that Omega had to deal with that. He did have the Whole Souled Swing, and he still could have Whole Souled Swing because the Goblin King still had 2 defense left. And that would have given him a Knight, and he could have gone for more board clear with the Novice Troopers, but I think he might want to save those Novice Troopers for a bit more damage later on when he can get into that lethal range.
There is a little bit of a worry here.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually 10 damage waiting on the side of Omega. Because he could swing with Tsubaki and then double Novice Trooper to swing for another 4 and evolve for 10.
Right.
So actually, I guess if you were to play the Maid Leader and draw an Albert here, a Luminous Mage might also work.
Still, though, with the Ector in hand for limits, I mean, that's going to be another massive amount of face damage that he might be able to close this game out with next turn, especially with Coco and Mimi in his hand. He doesn't have an evolve point left over.
Shining Paladins, attack!
Depending on what Omega chooses to do here to clear the board, it's going to go for face with that Tsubaki.
So 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 6. There's 9 damage with Ector here.
11 damage with Mimi or Coco.
Yeah, 9, 11. Well, 9, 4, 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be over. Do you have ward? He doesn't have ward. He needs to clear the board.
Yeah, he needs to clear the board.
And then 4, 6. He needs ward. Doesn't matter if he clears the board.
Really?
Because double Novice Trooper, 4 damage plus the evolve, 6.
Yeah, 6.
So, Limits, I think, is dead. He don't have ward. Does he have draw? He needs to throw in the Skull Cradle and get something.
Yep. He could get a Death's Breath and still be able to play that turn if he trades that into
Oh God,
the Tsubaki
uncomfortable.
Luminous Mage.
That's really uncomfortable.
Okay, he can kill the Tsubaki, right? But he's still got he doesn't have.
He doesn't have ward.
Yeah,
He's dead.
by playing the Ouroboros, even if he did draw Death's Breath, he still wouldn't be able to kill it. Still wouldn't be able to play Death's Breath.
Omega. I'm mixed. I have mixed feelings about this. I want to see that Tyrant do work, but just the aggression out of Omega's Swordcraft
Be
deck.
able to.
Here they come, riding on their horsies,
The Novice Troopers.
circling their kill right now, and look at that. Look at the wind flowing. Look at that. Evolve the animated one.
We're unstoppable.
Or the one that wasn't animated.
Yeah. There it is.
Probably the last thing on Omega's mind is, ooh, I want to evolve the one that
But the
is
wind
animated.
in
But
the
the
hair.
wind in the hair, that would have been a great way to finish the game.
It communicates speed.
Yep.
Communicates swiftness. The storm. It communicates the storm. So Omega was able to close it out. the sheer amount of stopping power behind that deck, and I think many times we see kind of the big threat of Tsubaki. Getting that ambush is so dangerous because it kind of just sits there and waits, and 4 damage is nothing to laugh at.
Yep.
That really played really heavily into Omega's favor there.
And now we have an EXG member advancing to the semifinals and a chance to make it to the finals to really earn those points.
We're nearly done with our round of 8. Just one more match to go, and I think that's going to definitely decide what our semifinals are going to look like. Gregory H2O versus Yumi. So we have EXG on either side, and there's a potential for both of them to be eliminated. Mana Surge has a potential to send yet another member.
So
to
EXG
the
could get a
finals.
first place win and a second place win this tournament.
Oh my God, you're right. And that's exactly the situation we were talking about.
Right.
That's the only way that EXG can come back and kind of challenge Mana Surge for points.
Unfortunately, I think even if they do get the first and the second place win, Mana Surge
Yeah.
will still be in ahead of points because
of Jay-Z and Noah.
Because of Jay-Z and Noah.
Yeah.
But either way, that will put them back in the race. So we'll see what happens there. Either way, really excited to see.
We've seen some interesting decks. I mean, we've got Dragon, Shadow, of course, Sword. Seen Havencraft today.
That's right.
Saw Deathly Tyrant. Unfortunately, didn't actually get to see it played,
Didn't
but
actually get to see it play.
Limits come back next week. Please show me.
Show us what Deathly Tyrant can do,
Show me your moves, as some would say.
as some would say.
As some would say. A particular member that is of a certain rank
Mm-hmm.
who models himself after a bird.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mm.
He's got a cool helmet.
He has a fixation with both his fist and his knee. He
Yes.
likes to drive fast.
Yes, he does. He drives very fast.
Oh,
moves.
man. What a day. What a day. Hey, this time you've got Olivia on your side.
No, I do. Yeah, that's right. She's looking pretty as always.
Speaking of merchandise, make sure you guys keep your eye out for MomoCon coming at the end of the month. Would love if you guys would attend, because then you'll get to meet us. We'll get to see you. We can hang out, talk, play some Shadowverse. I'll even give you one of these. I'll give you one of these. We can open it together.
Arthur will give you.
Or you can open it
his.
by yourself.
I'm keeping mine. I'm keeping mine all.
You're
for
keeping
myself.
yours?
Yeah. All 8 of them. Gotta collect them all, man. Gotta catch them all.
Hey, we're going to open 4 more of these later in the stream.
That's right. Yes. Stay tuned for that.
Before the finals, we're going
That's
to
right.
open 4 more. And what's going to happen is we're going to call up Vindy again when that happens. We're going to force him to predict what these cards are. There's 8 choices. He needs to get 2 out of the 4 right to rival Envy. He needs to get 3 out of the 4 to beat
That's right.
Envy.
And we're also going to force him to watch us open the cards
Mm.
and see us take them home, knowing that he's not going to be able to have them.
Well, if he went to MomoCon, he could get the cards, but that's not all. You could also participate in the nightly tournaments that we're going to be having at MomoCon, just local. If you're at the event, come in the evening to the tournament play space.
They're going to be Take-Two tournaments, right?
It's going to be Take-Two, Reverse Take-Two. It's
Ooh.
going to be Conquest. It's going to be
I love
everything.
Reverse Take-Two. So much fun.
And the first place prize is the one and only Bell Ringer Angel Alarm Clock. Oh my god, you guys have to see it.
So
The
special,
Bell
man.
Ringer Angel Alarm Clock. You get to boop it on the head every morning when you wake up.
Does it actually voice ding dong
Oh,
when it goes off?
You know, I haven't gotten the real physical, like actual visceral experience yet, but
Right.
I might have to check that out.
Because if I actually had that alarm clock, I feel like that would get annoying real fast.
Ding dong.
Nope. Like after one day
Like
awake,
after the DI.
just hearing you say that, I'm like, no.
She doesn't even make it to the end of the first ding.
Now my alarm clock is water sounds. On
Is
my
water
phone.
sounds?
My phone when it goes off.
Wow.
Goes,
Do you ever kind of, relieve yourself in bed because of that?
no. But thanks for asking. I'm glad we got that off the table.
I feel like that would be a thing that would happen. I mean,
It's my alarm clock though. It doesn't it's not quiet like in the background throughout
Yeah.
the whole time while I sleep.
okay.
So it's just like kind of wakes
Okay.
me up, and it's loud enough to just like shock me awake.
I have not heard my alarm go off in probably 3 years.
Really?
Every single time I wake up like a minute before my alarm and I turn it off.
How?
I don't know.
How does that work? I've seen that in movies
I don't know. It just happens to me every single time.
where the incredibly diligent worker just his eyes pop open and the alarm goes off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it happens for me. I haven't heard my alarm. I actually don't even know what it is.
That's
I set my alarm and I always wake up before
but you always
it.
set your alarm. That's interesting. That's fascinating.
Yeah. I think it's a mental, there's an alarm,
Right.
and that mental thing means
You
oh,
just have
gotta
an
wake
alarm
up.
in your
yeah.
head. There's an elf in there that has a hammer. He just
Yeah.
hits your brain every time. You're ready
That's
to
why
wake
it's so
up.
dumb,
Give me that elf's number. I want to call him.
Yeah.
I want to employ
for
him.
sure.
Yeah.
He's good at his job.
We'll exchange numbers.
You know who else is good at their jobs? Gregory H2O and Yami at playing Shadowverse. There's another Havencraft
There's
deck.
another
Yes.
Havencraft deck. We're
Oh, and
seeing
look at the
these
card
decks.
backs.
Ooh, Sonya. Oh, what's the top one? I can't see it.
The top one is a Doragon,
Ooh, nice.
but the bottom one, man, the blue. Oh my! It looks so cool.
Summon Pegasus and Heavenly Aegis in hand for Yami.
Mhm.
Great one drop. It's a 5/3 follower when it finally does pop.
I'm having a good
Ooh,
day.
Sacred Plea as well. Another great one drop.
Yep. Please let me win. That's what it's saying.
Please, please.
Can I win one game, please?
If the card was voiced, that's probably what I would say.
Yeah. Hey, are amulets voiced at all? They're not, right?
No, they're not.
None of the amulets are.
Oh,
Wow.
Seraph has a voice when it finally pops for the final
double
one.
plea. Really? What
Yeah,
does it say?
says, so our prayers become victory.
Oh,
When it then the wings come out and light flashes. It's cool. It's pretty cool. Just take my word for it. Yeah.
okay. I will. Never play Havencraft.
Ooh, and a missed 3-drop for Yami.
Animated Zeus too. God, these guys have such cool aesthetics.
That's pretty sweet.
Double Zell.
Animated Zeus, that is a cool card. I don't think I've ever seen an animated Zeus.
And this situation is real interesting. You've got Themis, you've got Dark Jean, you've got so many things in hand, but not quite things that deal with now.
Right. That deal with now. He's got the Sacred Blade dropping next turn, so he'll be able to get some card draw for that. Maybe an Ancient Lion or a Cudgel, definitely the cards you want to have at this stage of the game. He's got the Radiance Angel next turn as well, so there's heal and more card draw as well. That's absolutely crucial for Yami to get those options in the hand that he needs. But
Oh my
Gregory,
god. Okay, so the big thing here is Gregory, in his attempt to play aggressive, could end up committing too many cards and getting them all Themises. Themist. The one tempting thing to do is, which I think is super funny, probably not the smartest choice, but if you play the second Sybil, then you're just healing for 6 every turn. But if you do that, you open yourself up to Themis.
Themis, yeah, and Havencraft, that's definitely one of the more potent cards in this matchup. In Shadow, the Swallowers could have Last Words, summon Liches, summon Skeletons or anything, and Themis just procs those. But
Situation is still awkward, having spent Evolution Orbs on cards like these rather than something like maybe the Ancient Lion Spirit, which could get much more value across the whole board.
Right.
Still not the worst situation. How do you remove the Sybil? This is one of a 5-drop for 4/5. 5 defense is a lot. It's
a
kind
lot.
of 4 defense is okay. 5 defense is where it gets to be. That's really good, right?
yeah, especially for a 5-drop, having 5 defense, not to mention the ramp and the healing available. Sybil, such a potent card in the Sahak wheel.
Sahak pulling in Zeus,
Ready to witness my
the god of all. Oh, and the evolve on him. Sweet face. You're dead.
There it is. Here we are talking about how great a card Sybil is, and Zeus under our noses just takes and wins this game, man.
Yeah. Hey, that's Storm Dragon for you.
That's Storm Dragon, man.
And I know you can loosely say Storm Dragon because it just seems like Dragoncraft is just... They took a whole bunch of different Lego blocks from different sets and just threw them at
All
each other.
the strongest neutral followers that all have Storm.
Yeah. They kind of
equaling
put them together and it happened to create this beautiful palace that is Dragoncraft right now.
It's a really great metaphor, visual metaphor. I have like these... Yeah. Way to go, man.
Hey, thanks, buddy. People probably hated it. Hey, Gregory takes the first win, and that was actually a really great fast-paced game. I think this is classically what hurts Havencraft the most. The draw is so important, which is why we see that these Havencraft decks are needing to tune their curve so in such a careful method, even to cut out things like Test of Strength, to make sure that they draw the options that they need.
Right.
The early 2/2 drops, right? The 2 Zells, and I think it was the Goblin Mage.
Goblin Mage, yeah.
That is a lot of pressure for Havencraft to deal with, and to
And we
be
didn't
in a
even
situation.
see the Pegasus pop.
Yeah,
He was playing those amulets. That's the thing about the amulets that summon followers.
yes.
They're very efficient when you get to those turns, but Dragoncraft could end the game
Yeah.
before the amulets even pop.
Yeah.
And you get the followers that you need to put pressure on the board.
Sahak evolves Zeus.
is
On turn
begging
7,
spare
you get
all
that 7 damage storm.
Let the duel begin.
And the Haven deck going up against Shadow, this is one of the more interesting matchups for me to see how the last word
Temple
abilities-
Defender, we were just talking about it.
Temple Defender, that's a great card, especially against skeletons.
Yes.
Essentially like preventing skeletons from attacking at all.
Yeah.
Because they can't do any damage to Temple Defender
Yeah.
on the turn that you attack with.
Definitely a target that, I mean, there's still ways to play around it, right?
Mhm.
Because you could use Orthrus, or you could, if they evolve it, use Soul Squasher, right? There's ways to play around it, but it
Right.
just forces those options to be available and to be spent on that particular card.
And for a 3-drop, even though it's only 2/2 with Ward, many times you force your opponent to use more orbs than you used to play the card in the first place. So it ends up being a more efficient play. Because
it is.
anything that does 1 damage to it does 0 damage. So you're
Yeah.
forced to do...
Oh! That's probably the best card to use against a Temple Defender.
Yep.
And what a strong board for Gregory here.
Yeah,
He's
very
got
strong board.
a bunch of skeleton effects going on. The Lurching Corpse to remove stuff, and buff the Shadow Reaper.
Yep. But the Priest of the Cudgel going to be able to banish off that Lurching Corpse, prevent it from attacking next turn, from attacking the ward, and being able to
I think
banish
that's so
off another
important,
follower.
yeah.
That's very important.
Needs to banish the Lurching Corpse.
Yep.
I feel like that's the big thorn in Yami's side right
Right.
now. There it is.
Sometimes you can play around Lurching Corpse when it only has one attack, and if your opponent doesn't have a way to get rid of it, like with a Necro Assassin or a Soul Conversion, it's just like a little prick you take every turn. And if you're an aggro deck as well, you can sometimes finish the game, and it's a 2-drop that was sometimes wasted.
Yes. So opts not to touch anything, doesn't even remove the Sergeant, leaving it to Gregory's turn to kind of swing into the Temple Defender. And here's a good situation for Gregory. Going to be able to evolve the Cerberus, swing over the Temple Defender.
Loose lately.
I've said my last prayer.
That opens up some face damage, but the Reaper is now out of ambush and only 1/1.
And only 1 defense.
1 turn away from Themis's, no ALS. Radiance Angel?
Yeah, you've got healing, you've got draw with that card as well. I mean, because you took that essentially mitigates. I mean, you took 4 damage from the Reaper and the Catacomb and the Sergeant, and being able to heal from 3. Aside from that 1 damage you took, it's kind of like mitigating that pressure that Gregory was able to put on. Of course, you still have to deal with the followers as well. The Catacomb and the Sergeant are still going to summon skeletons when they die as well.
I feel like the focus here is the Reaper and then Cerberus, just because Cerberus is holding so much damage.
Right.
As well as Coco and Mimi there. I mean, what, you already have 9 on board right now, plus 4 from Coco and Mimi and an Evolution Orb.
A Phantom Howl as well. Not many shadows, but I think it's expected that you're going to be able to build up those shadows with all of these followers that you have.
I think Yami is really thinking hard about it, right? Does he want to put a ward down?
Yeah, there's
If
a
he
lot of
commits the
options.
ward, that's it, right? I mean, if he plays Grimner, he can't play anything else. So basically, he's limited to playing just one of these cards.
Yeah. And Acolyte's Light is a great card, being able to banish a follower for 5 cost.
It's going to be Radiance Angel.
Yep.
Draws the Aegis. Kind of cool.
Pretty cool. We'll see if the game even gets to that point. But Gregory has got all of the tools that he needs to close out this game. Yami is sitting pretty on 17 health, but it's going to be real difficult.
Is there a way to
stay
do that
in this
better?
game.
He probably could have saved 1 health on his Priest, right? If you swung the Reaper first, then swung the Angel into the thing, I'm pretty sure his Priest could be at 4/4 right now. But probably doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
What are you hiding inside?
Ooh. Man, making it real difficult to Themis next turn with the Catacomb. What a great play from Gregory. Being able to anticipate the Themis. There is a Judge of Retribution being able to banish off that Sergeant that's been buffed up to 4/2. But there's still many more followers and another Mimi in hand. I think Shadow is showing us why it's so strong. It's able to put on so much pressure. And I don't think that the Havencraft deck, I don't think Yami has what he has in his hand, has what he needs to really deal with this.
So he's got Mimi for 2. If he wipes out the Sergeant, I think that's going to spawn 2 skeletons.
Oh, will it?
I believe so. No, just 1. Just 1. I didn't remember if he played 2 Catacombs. But that's 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. That's good value. One of the zombies gets wrecked.
Either way, yeah, good value, especially knowing that.
Yep. And this is putting Yami in a very uncomfortable spot now.
Yep. He's getting below that 10 health range.
Even if you use Themis's, you'll live with 1 health for next turn. Yeah.
Yeah, and Gregory has got
No,
more than.
well, actually it doesn't matter because it spawned the 1/1s anyways. Yeah. So even with the last word effect, you won't get more damage just because of board space. But it's very scary if something like Ector comes along.
Right. Absolutely. And with the 3 1-drops that you really were hoping for in the early stage of the game, the 2 secret plays and the summon Pegasus. Not really the position, kind of like 3 dead cards that you can play, but I think the game's going to be over. Even if you were to play them this turn, I think the game's going to be over before those cards even pop.
It's so interesting. I would love to look at Yami's list. He hasn't seen any kind of Dark John, any kind of Ancient Lion Spirit, both of which would be so helpful in all of these situations.
Right.
It's going to be Themis's.
The bones embrace me.
Yeah, real difficult choice that Nami had to make there. Themising, hoping that there wasn't an Ector to get even more pressure.
My boss works us to the bone.
Okay, setting up another dangerous situation, and now you're going to need to start considering playing ward and heal at the same time. And even then, that might not save you.
Right, yeah, he's got the cards. He's got Grimnir and Radiance Angel. You're right, he's going to be able to heal and ward if he wants to, but there's no Evolve Orb. He's not going to be able to clear off any other followers from that play. And the Acolyte's Light spending 5 play orbs just to get rid of the Lyrial Archer. A real difficult position that Yami has been forced into by this Shadow deck.
Gregory on the verge of moving on to the semifinals.
It's going to depend on the decision that Yami makes this turn to kind of hold out for until he can get what he needs. But I think that Gregory is really coming out on top in this matchup.
I like the Radiance Angel because it both kind of extends your life and gives you a draw that might inform you on how to survive.
Right, it could be another Themis, and if you can catch Shadowcraft in a spot where it doesn't have the Last Words abilities on some of its followers, they can be absolutely devastating. But even if you do clear the board, that's 6 cost, and it just kind of opens up the board for a Phantom Howl play that Gregory has in his hand as well. So either way, real difficult position.
So if he does play the Grimnir here at 11 health, a Lyrial and a Skeleton need to swing in. And 2, if we assume that he has 2 damage and 4, 6, 8, 10. Lurching Corpse, not really going to be helpful. Skeleton 1, Lyrial 1.
Right, especially when there is a ward on the field, but the ward only has 1 attack. And even if in the coming turns you can attack the Lurching Corpse into the ward, it's still not going to be able to kill itself.
2, 4, 6, 8. I don't know if that was maximum damage.
Oh, he's got 11 with the 1 attack from the Lyrial Archer.
4, 6,
yeah,
7, 8, 9, 10. Yes.
not to mention the Mimi as well.
Oh, yeah. You're right. The Lyrial Ping. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Gregory, man, taking this 2-0, our first 2-0 game of the day in the round of 8.
Yeah, and that feels really strange because we've just been seeing 2-1s all the time.
Yeah.
And really, I think he actually got the ideal Dragoncraft game there, right? Just swung super aggressive and had the exact amount of damage he needed at the end. And even that Shadowcraft game with that Lyrial Ping as well, that was just the exact amount of damage that he needed to close out the match. And, hey, you know what? There's a reason why those are strong. Sad to see Havencraft falling in that scenario, but I think a lot of that comes down to kind of making sure that your Havencraft deck is built to handle this flood of followers.
Right.
So, Gregory, we'll move on. Let's take a look at the bracket to see how the next stage of the tournament will be. We've got J-Hobo at the top against EXG the 7th. Then EXG represented again with Omega versus Gregory H2O. And so, will it be in EXG finals? It's either going to be EXG or Mana Surge in the finals, one or the other. But Gregory might come up here, and maybe Omega
come up
will,
as a solo player and knock out one of the teams.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see, or it could be an EXG taking first place and second place.
And Gregory certainly has some very strong decks that he's running, right?
Yeah, clearly. Yes, he was able to take a series 2-0. That doesn't happen lightly.
All right, well, we're going to head into our semis soon, but before we do that, make sure you check out shadowverse.ng.io, figure out how to participate in the tournament, how to sign up, when the broadcasts are going to happen, when the tournaments are going to happen, who the current winners are, and what the point standings are. You can find
Download
it all
our
there.
EP, those things.
Yeah.
You know, typical things.
Everything there. Make sure you go to @WatchNGE on Twitter, and you can talk anything Shadowverse Open, anything Shadowverse competitive, anything Shadowverse related. As well as make sure you check the Twitch panels for information on the giveaway. 3,500 vials coming your direction. And you can definitely create a legendary or maybe a handful of other cards, whatever you want.
A few gold cards, yeah.
Yeah, a few
that'll
gold
work.
cards, a bunch of silver cards.
Whatever your preference is.
Make sure to definitely do that. Sign up. Do it. When we come back from the break, We'll be able to talk with Vindy a little bit to see what he thinks of how the tournament is progressing and how he sees the current deck lists match up. And we'll be heading straight into our semis and seeing which of the top 4 will make it to the finals and who will be our 7th champion. The NGE Shadowverse Open will continue after a little bit of a break. welcome back to the NGE Shadowverse Open. We've had an exciting quarterfinals. Now we're moving on to the semis. And a bunch of people just got knocked out. But
a bunch of people.
a bunch of people.
Four people. That's a bunch of people. That's a
Four
lot of
people. To be fair, the whole tournament people, I guess, have been getting knocked out up until this point.
Dropping like flies.
Yeah, dropping
Yeah.
like flies. So we're down to the final four. It's a interesting cast of characters there. Of course, we would like to welcome back our special guest, Excelsior Vindy, to this segment to kind of talk about how the tournament has been coming along, what he's liked from what he's seen so far. Vindy, how has the tournament experience been for you so far?
Been interesting. A little bit more Haven this time around.
Yeah.
100% more Haven than we usually see.
100% more. That is very true. Oh my God, I still have. Wait, I think Hobo has the Haven
Yeah,
list,
he
right?
does. Uh-huh.
So there's a chance. The chance I still have
The
sheet.
dream. The dream is still alive, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
still have the sheet. The Havencraft curse could be ending soon. It's there. It's there.
Hobo, we want to get rid of that page.
Mhm.
Please.
I'm ready
Please
to rip it
fulfill our
out on
dreams.
broadcast right here. Hey, so let's take a look at the semifinalists and see what we have lined up for the rest of the broadcast today. I believe that there's a good mix of Mana Surge members, or actually one, J Hobo himself, representing Mana Surge, and two of your boys, Vindy. You got the 7th, you got Omega, representing on opposite ends of the bracket. So if either of them win their round,
Mhm.
you're going to have representation in the finals. And of course, the final player, Gregory H2O, had an outstanding performance in the quarters, 2-0ing his opponent. Will Omega will Omega stop that 2-0 streak, or will he even maybe win that? We'll have yet to see. But how have your thoughts been for the EXG representation today? Obviously, there was a team kill, Vindy, but how are they doing?
I do have a comment on the match between the 7th versus the Gengar.
Mhm.
And the funny thing about these two players was that the reason Gengar was on the team and that he was chosen for it was because he had a lot of potential. I saw him as like a wild card because he plays a lot more differently and build his own deck
Mhm.
than what
Gengar
others
was the
would
one
do.
that brought the Tyrant, right?
No, he actually brought more
Soul
of
Hungry
a
Wraith and
aggro deck.
Cursed Soldier, yeah.
Oh, was that
the
his deck?
Curse Soldier.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're
So
right.
he's not using the cookie cutter decks. He's really
Yeah.
trying to find a deck that works for him personally.
His deck line was more towards I would call it a super aggro deck, where you play really early and stops at the Spectral Wraith because it's a ambush card. You kill it, and then the next turn you finish off with Curse Soldier. And I think that was the line of play that he was intending of winning with that deck. But the relationship between the two of them is that Gengar is the potential player who has a lot of wild plays, and then you have a veteran player like the 7th who kind of plays by the book.
By the book.
In a sense.
That's interesting.
So you have like two people. It was an interesting match to definitely watch those two play. And then the 7th coming out on top. And so now we have J Hobo and EXG 7th.
Let's take a look at that matchup. Let's take a look at Hobo's Havencraft deck. And this is the one that has been seeing so much success. And we talked about that inclusion of the 1-drop Bahama. Pulled it, helped him push through the quarterfinals, was instrumental in kind of his victory. Have you seen lists like this in EXG, and how have they performed?
This list is actually getting pretty popular. This isn't the first time that we've seen it in EXG tournaments. Then I can start to see why, because Test of Strength is kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna play this card before Aegis comes in, and that'll be it. You don't have any other place but that, so it kind of like dead in your hand until that turn. So instead of that, they threw away that and put in Darkjan in there, and they put in a single Acolyte. So if taking a look at this list, you have like 5 different ways to AoE. You have Ancient Lion Spear, you have Jean, you have Themyscira, you have Bahamut. Like, you have 10 cards of AoE damage essentially in this deck. And then follow up with hard removal.
Yeah,
Acolytes as a
banishes.
one of. You have Priesthood of Cudgel, you have Tribunal. And essentially what this deck revolves around is playing. I'm going to keep clearing your board until I get my Aegis comes out. And then Bahamut it right after that and then finish you off.
Well,
And that's essentially what this deck is.
definitely very, very effective. Wonder if it can continue in the semis. Let's take a look at 7th's Shadowcraft deck. And now, Vinny, you said that the 7th is kind of much more of a kind of by-the-book player, and certainly this deck looks exactly like what a Shadowcraft deck in this meta looks like. And you talked a little bit about players that are playing the meta or playing the tech, and I feel like you described kind of both of those personalities in the 7th and Gengar, right? Where Gengar would maybe be considered somebody who likes the tech more, and the 7th is kind of somebody who likes to play consistent decks he knows can give him very good chances at kind of coming out on top. Is there anything that you would add to kind of the 7th's repertoire in terms of, like, does he tend to take risks? Does he tend to play extremely safe?
I would say he's a cautious player, in a sense that if he takes his time with his turn often enough and thinking about what the most optimal plays. And clearly, I think there are some of the lists that he made changes of. For example, apparently he doesn't run 3 zombie parties, so he's figuring out that zombie party, hey, like, it gets me this clear, but it's not doing the thing that I want it to do. So I'm going to change that up, maybe get more draw power. So let's add a soul conversion in there, and maybe get some hard removal instead. So I'm going to put in 2 Lurching Corpse, and generally this list does and doesn't have Lurching Corpse. It's kind of like a preference kind of thing. And same
He
thing for
doesn't have
Necro
Lurching
Assassin.
and Necro Assassin, right? So
Yep. Yeah. So those 2 cards are like kind of like a preference. You don't have to have this in the mid-range shadow, but this is, there's a specific play that he's aiming for with this list, and it's gotten him here. So Necro Assassin with Lurking Corpse is good for Dragon matchup. So if we follow back to his previous matches, he's gotten some Dragon matchups that got to him here.
So, as a final question to you before we head into this first semifinal match, who is your favorite to win the tournament? Is it going to be J Hobo and you're rooting for the enemy? Is it going to be the 7th? Is it going to be Omega? Or is it going to be Gregory? Which do you think has the best chance of making it through to the finals?
Well, I think J Hobo and the 7th is pretty close in terms of both skill, so it's going to be an interesting and close match between the 2 players. To be honest, it's very difficult for me to determine who would come out, especially since J Hobo is more of a competitive veteran player than the 7th, and he's more kind of like, he joined in the middle, as while J Hobo joined the competitive scene a little bit earlier. So he's seen the meta already, and the 7th, I think, has caught up to it. So they're pretty close. As for Gregory and Omega, I don't know too much about Gregory. He seems like he's been part of the NGE, but he's also been part of the top 8, I think, more than once. So he's figured out something. So maybe that'll be an interesting matchup between Omega and Gregory as well. While Omega is also, I would say, a book by the books as well. So we have 2 matches that are really close.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with you. I think the semifinals are having a lot of intense Shadowverse in store for us. So between either of these players, it's going to be hard to tell. I personally still want one of the EXG members to make it through. Not really decided on which one I want, but we'll see. Maybe after the semifinals, I'll pick the one that survives. If there's one that does
jump on
survive.
that bandwagon.
Yeah. All right, Vinny. Thanks so much
for the support.
for your thoughts, and we'll reconnect with you before the next semis match, and then of course before the finals we have to reconnect with you because you got to give your predictions on which cards we're gonna open.
That's right. Yeah, can't forget about the card pack openings.
All right, we're about to jump into this first semifinals match between J Hobo and the 7th, and we'll see if Havencraft can make it through to the finals. Will the curse be broken? That to me is a very intriguing storyline.
Will the curse be broken if it just makes it to the finals, or does it have to win?
It has to win.
It has to win.
It has to win. So maybe, you know, in fact, maybe I'm kind of rooting a little more for Omega just in that sense because I want to see the Havencraft move on.
Right. Yeah, if Hobo's able to take the Havencraft deck, that would end the curse. But tall order, very tall order. It's going to be some big shoes he's going to have to fill.
Yeah.
Haven has not taken a finals yet. It's not taken a single tournament. This
Yeah.
will be the first one, and that would be trend-setting, I think. We might be seeing a lot more Haven decks after that. And it's going to be Hobo starting out with his Haven deck against the 7th Shadow deck for this first semifinals game.
Let's see. I mean, there are situations where we saw Havencraft just absolutely demolish Shadowcraft, banishing away a full board, you know, just kind of really making sure that the shadows are being really ineffective and just kind of being a nuisance to the drops that the 7th, or rather that Shadowcraft was kind of employing.
And Haven was able to earn those little advantages, like making sure that the Shadowcraft player only has 3 shadows when you want to be playing Soul Squasher and getting rid of those evolved followers, but it's the banishing that makes such a big difference.
The Heavenly Hound.
And there's already 3 options for banishing in the hand of Hobo. He's got Black Inscripture and 2 Cudgels as well. Of course, he's going first, so he only has those 2 Evolve Orbs, but we'll see how he's able to use those effectively in this match.
Lurching Corpse comes down. That's an easy target for a banish.
Yep, easy target for a Black Inscripture. Definitely want to get that off the field as soon as possible, especially on turn 3 when it's your only card in hand. You can handily get rid of that card, preventing any kind of Catacomb from coming out this turn. But the 7th, he's got the Goblin and the Soul Squasher as well. He can fill up his board yet again.
He's feeling hungry.
Goblin drops.
They're so fresh.
He's going to commit one of his Soul Squashers. That could set up a possible Orthrus, but...
Hey, why so angry?
Right, but even then,
Works us to the bone.
with the Lyrial Archer, he's guaranteeing that this Orthrus play is going to get some value out of it. Instead of playing maybe the Cudgel, I can see why he'd want to save that card for when he has an Evolve Orb.
Orthrus has
Yeah.
arrived.
So really he has to make a choice, right? Evolve 2 Cudgels or save one of the Evolves for one of his ALSs. I'm leaning on evolving them on evolving the Cudgels just because I think that with Dark Jean, the value of having an ALS is not quite as great. You know, you can kind of get that similar effect by kind of tiding over for Jean.
But I
But
love the choice that the 7th made to evolve that Goblin there on the last turn, kind of preventing that a Lion or a Cudgel would be able to banish it off or destroy it. But so he was forced to banish the Orthrus and then attack straight into the Goblin to kind of clear the board.
yeah. And another Black Scripture.
It's tempting to use it right now on this turn, but
He's going to go for it.
gonna go for it. The Sergeant kind of already gains its value when it's played because its fanfare ability is that you gain 1 shadow. So banishing it, yeah, you prevent them from gaining 1 shadow and
Wow,
you
he
get
just
rid of a
passed.
2/2 follower.
He floated 4. And they didn't get their enhance effect.
Right.
I think that's important, though, because it allowed him to actually bump himself up to 6 shadows, which continues to add on to the count rather than expending them all. Now he has 3 more shadows when those zombies die, and that's going to set up Ector for a better situation. And Ector doesn't even really need it, right? With 3 zombies on the field, that's enough to justify Ector right there.
But Hobo could completely clear up the board this turn if he wants to spend his last Blackened Scripture on the zombie. This will be his last Blackened Scripture. It's such a juicy card for a 2-cost, being able to banish a follower that has 3 defense.
It's a choice, right? Because he could definitely play his Hound here and get the added bonus effect.
Yep.
And that's what he's going to do. He opts to float 1 and keeps the Scripture.
And now that's playing the Hound on that turn. He's really just giving the enhanced zombie from this Ector a target to attack into.
This head can't be taken.
Here it comes. 2 zombies.
2 zombies and another 4 damage right to face unless he chooses to evolve. It's another evolve point spent on just pure face damage in this matchup.
And now the banish won't work. Themis's is definitely an option.
Yep.
But he needs to be careful of something like Phantom Howl.
Yep.
There's no Cerberus that was played, so he knows there's no extra damage that's going to
So
come
he'd
from
only be able
that.
to get 7 damage with the evolved on
Yeah.
one of the ghosts.
And it looks like that's not going to be the option. Death's Breath instead. And this is important because now you can't play Aegis, right?
Right.
My boss works us to the bone.
The Dark
But you
Jean is
can
going to
Dark
sweep
Jean.
everything.
That's looking really juicy.
Oh my
on
god!
This
This
turn.
might be the highest value Jean I've ever seen. That sets up the Grimnir on the next turn too.
Yep.
Oh! God! 4-0.
Oh man, that feels good. There's a Nectar. He's going to be able to clear off the Jean, but oh man. And then even if he does Grimnir next turn, that's not going to be enough to take off the Ector.
He will still maintain the ward, which is, I think, very important.
Right. Yes.
Having the
very
ward
crucial.
there. And really, the question is, especially without evolution orbs, when do you find time to play Aegis? It almost has to be something like Bahamut into Aegis, you know, rather than Aegis and then Bahamut afterwards.
Right. Yeah, it seems like that's almost necessary.
Okay, Ector's down.
And there's only Catacomb remaining, and a Grimnir coming out next turn.
He has one more evolve orb as well. So that Lyriel is set up to ping for 1.
There is.
Right, if he chooses to do that next turn, but I think if Hobo plays a Grimnir, I mean, it's not really going to matter. We'll see what this draw is for Hobo, maybe giving him one more option. It's going to be Unica. I think, yeah, definitely Grimnir is a play this turn.
My tempest shall judge you.
Okay, so the top deck for the 7th here is also really important.
Yep. Could be a
It's gonna be
Cerberus, and
Cerberus.
that's going to end the game. He's going to be able to buff up the Ector and close out this game because he saved that Evolve Orb.
Yep.
What a great choice being able to save that Evolve Orb.
Yeah.
He was put in a position where he didn't have to use it to clear the board.
And that's kind of what Vindy was talking about with the 7th playing very kind of a very controlled, very patient game, right? He didn't get antsy, just saved his resources, holds on to the Ector here, and he's going to be able to buff up 2 damage and do 2 to face with the 7 swing from Ector. It's going to close it out.
Yep.
Definitely a situation where I feel like it always feels like Havencraft just needed that one extra card, right? Just that one more card. Aegis is uncomfortable to play if you don't have Evolve Orbs because you can't gain any kind of tempo back.
Right.
And if you don't have Bahamut, you can't really reset your situation. He already had the Grimnir. He already had the Dark Jean. It's just like, it's almost you're asking
And he
for too much.
Demist as well.
right?
Like all the options you want to use on your Aegis turn, where you play Aegis and then clear the board afterward, he used all those to just try to set up, and he wasn't able to really get in the position where Aegis was going to be able to help him.
I really feel like you need to, at that point, look to cards like, I don't know, maybe something like Curate, right? Maybe something that will heal up as well as put presence on the board so that you could still use that to swing and then use one of your removals.
He is running Curate in his deck, and what a high value card that is. A 7-drop with 5 attack and 5 defense. That's beefy. And you heal immediately for 5 defense on any ally that you want to.
Yeah. So J Hobo down 1 against the 7th, but not out. We've seen a lot of 2-1s today.
That's right.
J Hobo could certainly take it back, and I would expect him to run Haven again. Is exactly what you have to do in this format. You run your deck that you think has a stronger counter against your matchups. I don't know if he identifies it as better against Dragon or better against Shadow, but definitely want to run your more interesting quote-unquote deck first.
And we'll see what the 7th's Dragon deck can do against Hobo's Havencraft. He's got the Zell for tempo on turn 2. He's also got Breath of the Salamander, so he's got some clear. But
Interesting set of cards for his hand. Kind of
in this matchup, I think clear is not as important. You're not trying to prevent your shadow opponent from getting a Catacomb on turn 3. But I think ramp is absolutely crucial in this matchup. Being able to get those beefy followers and put pressure on the board, force the Haven player to use Themis, to use its banishing capabilities, and put it in a position where it's not able to play Aegis on turn 9. So we'll see if the Dragon player is able to ramp up and make those plays happen.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Grimnir comes down. And he's just swinging face. Still not a comfortable, so he's not going to get the ramp before the Sybil here. Unless he draws it next turn. But even then, that really slows down Dragoncraft.
Yeah.
Basically going to enter the late game on kind of even footing with J Hobo. The only thing that's kind of rough here is J Hobo hasn't drawn into many late game options, whereas the 7th has 2 Israfils and a Zeus already.
Right.
I have no regrets.
Opts to save the Tribunal, which I like that. I think that's very smart.
Saving the Tribunal until maybe they put all their eggs into an Easterfill that the 7th has in his hand in those later turns, and Tribunal could come down and just wipe it off the board. Definitely very strong in this Dragon matchup, Tribunal.
Be gone.
First Evolve Orb being spent on the Grimnir to take off the Unica.
It's going to open it up for Black and Scripture,
Right.
which is the choice, and then maybe Grimnir to come down.
It's interesting because both players are more than happy spending their orbs just to
Close
clear
it.
the board. Not really going for face damage, being very careful. Hobo could have played Grimnir that turn, gotten some tempo with an extra follower on his side of the field, but he elected not to. They're really saving their cards for the later stages of the game. And man, look at this hand from the 7th. Look at all those legendary cards.
Oh my
Every
God.
single card is legendary.
He's got 3 Sibyls ready to go.
Oh my gosh.
So much healing. 3 Sibyls, 2 Israfils.
He could, on turn 10, he could play 2 Sibyls and just heal for 6 at the end of that turn. That is just, oh.
And the Lightning Blast as well is actually really strong. Evolve is going to give a huge stat line to that. Takes out Jean. No problem.
There is
Tribunal is an option. Also, the Evolved Cudgel would get rid of the Sybil as well. You could
I
Tribunal and then Sacred Plea, or Cudgel and then Sacred Plea. But either way, I really like to see Sacred Plea get down on this turn as well. So by turn 10, he'll be able to have some more cards in his hand as well.
And I think that's important. Card draw, I think, is really important right now because you're drawing one at a time and you don't have a clear late game big hitter in your hand.
Right.
And obviously, we can see Ouroboros joining the mix as well now.
Yeah, with 4 defense, it's such a thorn in the side for Haven because all the banishing capabilities that Haven has aside from Acolyte's Light, which we do know is in Hobo's deck, you have to have 3 defense on an enemy follower to banish it. With Cudgel, with Judge of Retribution, and Black and Scripture, that's why Ouroboros is still viable in this Haven matchup.
Has to throw away both of his Grimners before he gets to the enhanced stage.
Oh, and now the 7th is able to Lightning Blast, get rid of the Sacred Plate and the Tribunal, so those don't get their effective pops and go for face for 8 damage with the Ouroboros. What a massive play.
Oh, God. It's a tough situation.
Oh, man, he's going to have to evolve the Judge just to trade into the Ouroboros. But either way, the 7th has an evolved Zeus next turn, which is going to be able to end this game, and he's going to be able to take this game 2-0.
Yeah. Such a tough draw situation for Hobo. Didn't pull any of his late game options. And you mentioned it exactly. You hit the nail on the head, right? 4 defense is so annoying because you just need that little bit of ping. And
Yeah, he had the options. He had
control.
the Cudgel and the Judge of Retribution, but Ouroboros not being able to be banished with 4 defense.
The second time we will see an Evolved Zeus close out a game here, and the 7th easily 2-0 moves on.
Handily moves on to the finals with an EXG member in the finals. We are getting exactly what we hoped for.
Yeah. Havencraft deck falls, but
Sad to say, yep.
that means the curse will continue because I don't think anybody in the bottom 2. I think the Havencraft deck got knocked out there as well.
It did, yep.
So
So the dream is still alive. We're still hoping maybe in the coming weeks, weeks we'll get to see Havencraft advance. to
we're
the
getting a
finals.
little bit closer. A little
That's
bit
right.
closer, a step at a time.
The dream is alive. Make no mistake.
It's alive. The 7th is really riding those high waves right now because he's about to make a run for first place representing EXG. Let's take a look at the bracket to see that. And I think, just very smart play. Very smart play. Of course, it's kind of interesting because I feel like almost that hand is actually kind of not good for Dragoncraft typically. Just the fact that Havencraft was so slow, right? He had all the legendaries. He didn't ramp at all until he finally played the Sybil.
Yeah, that might in the Shadow matchup that might have been a massive place where the Dragoncraft player would have been punished with all those high cost legendaries in hand. But that was exactly the place the 7th wanted to be in that matchup.
So one EXG member made it through. Will Omega make it through as well and join his fellow teammate in the finals? We'll have to see. Next up is Omega versus Gregory. And it's going to be... I don't know what to say. I feel like that 2-0 happened so quick, and maybe Gregory is going to be just as quick based on his performance in the quarters.
It could be. I think Omega is going to have his handful with this matchup. But Gregory, I mean, we've seen Omega play. He's a great player. Vindy has a lot of faith in his teammates, and I think that's going to be vindicated here.
Hey, well, good one.
Oh, thanks.
Well,
that was unintentional.
Vindy's here with us now, again, after only just finishing making his coffee or tea or whatever it was. It was a short break. Vindy, what the heck was that? The 7th just blew through his opponent there.
Tea?
Tea? Did you actually make tea?
No, I didn't make tea.
Oh, thank God.
No, I'm still in the midst of like watching and seeing what's going on, to be honest. But
Gotcha.
from hearing it from here, it's like I don't know.
Loss of words. It was
Lots of words.
certainly a speedy game. Hey, let's quickly take a look at Omega's Shadowcraft deck. And see what's going on here. So EXG Omega is your other representative, and in terms of the list that he has on hand, he's also running Lurching Corpse, but I think the distinct difference here is there's no Necro Assassin.
There's the Phantom Howls almost in place of the Necro Assassins.
Is there anything in particular you know going on in Omega's head when he was kind of constructing this deck?
Wait a minute, is this the same deck?
Is it?
It's the same deck.
I believe. No, it doesn't have
it's-
Necro Assassin.
It doesn't have Necro
It doesn't have Necro Assassin.
It's very
It has
close.
One of Grimnir, but it's very close.
And the
yes.
Dark Conjurer as well. I think that's a difference.
Huh.
Yeah, the Dark Conjurer has also been pretty interesting.
It won a game. It won him a game.
Yeah, it
He's able to
definitely
have that 1 bit of damage with the evolved Lirial.
We don't actually
So-
see it that commonly gaining that ghost.
That's the same with Dark Conjurer too. Oh, and I'm starting to see the curve on this. He's running 15, and between this one and the 7th only runs 14. But the list is very similar, so he's teching out. He's not too worried about Dragon in this sense. He only has the Lurking Corpse. I think he's more concerned maybe towards like Swordcraft. Oh, he also runs Phantom Howl too, so he's trying to finish pretty fast with this list if it curves out perfectly. With the turn 6 play, turn 5 Cerberus.
Certainly,
So-
we've seen a ton of turn 5 Cerberus getting a lot of value.
Yeah.
In tournament, in every single tournament we've watched. So, Omega. I mean, you know, I think it's pretty similar. Shadowcraft is Shadowcraft, as Envy said. There's not too much you can really totally shake out of it. Just little almost preference pieces. I think let's take a look at let's go ahead and take a look at Gregory's Dragoncraft deck and see what's going on there. Obviously, we saw Zeus swinging big for him and opting to play the Dark Angel Olivia, which is kind of a flavor piece that some people like to add in there. And we see how strong Evolution Orbs can be. I mean, Zeus Evolve is huge. Storm Evolve is huge just in general.
Yeah, in those late game matchups, maybe in a double Dragon on Dragon matchup, Olivia is definitely a card you want to have in your deck. Really gives those crucial advantages. And he's running a single Dragoon Scyther as well.
Any thoughts, Vindy, on Gregory's Dragoncraft?
So, the usual deck or the cards that's in here is Dragon Scyther being as a 2-0, but he reduced that cost, take one away to add a Dark Angel Olivia. And that is essentially that, I think it's that one missing card. Essentially for Lightning Blast 2 is usually as a 3-of or a 2-of. And interestingly enough, he pulled a Goblin Mage. So what this also means is that this is gearing towards like the OTK dragons, pull the goblin, get the Wind Reader Zell because it's the only 2-drop creatures in here, and then you finish it off with a Bahamut or Israfil, and you have Olivia there. So essentially, what this means too is that, hey, I want this game to last a little bit longer and have my Zell the opportunity to finish you off. And that's what that 1-drop Olivia. So another way of seeing this too is that we can probably predict that he's going to be playing a little bit conservative until he sees that Olivia and then starts spending out his thing. If he managed to draw Olivia, let's say on turn 5 or 6 or so, he's going to start immediately expending out his
orbs.
His orbs, and then when it's that turn 9 or when he's able to, he'll just immediately play it and set up the Israfil Zell Bahamut combo or Israfil.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for him. It's with all the resources that he has to set up that multi-card play, right? And that we've seen so much of. Sahakwiel bringing in things like Zeus, Bahamut,
that's right.
Israfil, playing Zell along with that to give it Storm. Just so many different options available. So, Vindy, thanks for taking a little bit of time here. I'm sure Omega will do just as well as the 7th and have to ultimately fight his own brethren in the finals, possibly. But Gregory was looking pretty strong. We won't know what the results are until we jump into the match, but going to be up here very soon. EXG on this very fortuitous run. Maybe Vindy is like the card where you drop it and it buffs everybody else, because it seems like the EXG members are doing real well.
Vindy could be Demon Lord Ector's steed.
Oh yeah,
Because I think we can all agree that the horse is what
the horse is what's
Ector
making it
so
happen.
strong.
Yeah,
the horse is what he's doing all the work.
Ector is probably just like a nerd. He just he doesn't know how to
he's just
really
the face guy. You know?
Yeah. He doesn't actually know what he's doing, but the horse is what carries him. Literally and figuratively.
I was just about to say that. And this is going to be a shadow on sword matchup. Omega thinking about his mulligan. He's going to get rid of the Alwidas and both Grimnirs as well.
I think that's fine. You could. I mean, Grimnir is not a bad early drop. But you would kind of prefer to have him later.
Right. And the luck of the cards is giving him Itachi on turn 1.
He's got a pretty good curve so far. He just needs a 3. Oh,
and he gets
baby.
it. The Grimnir he threw away back in the deck comes back.
Lots of opportunity here for Omega to kind of have a really strong early game. And, the big thing about having Hold Soul Swing is you get that instant damage, right? So Gregory had to play the Catacomb just all by his lonesome.
Yep.
I am the Mad Cyclone.
Not getting very much value out of the Catacomb at all when you only play it on just by itself, because it's essentially giving you 2 total attack and 2 total defense for a 3 cost. I mean, that's not good at all. But Gregory was able to get some tempo back on this turn with the zombie party, taking out the Grimnir.
Floral Fencer.
Yep.
Could be a big thing here. Or he could try to play.
He could have gone the
so much-
Lyrial Archer Lancer, but I mean, when you can play 1 card as opposed to 2 cards, you get to save those options in your hand for later turns. And that's exactly what Omega does. Fills out his board, and now Gregory has got to answer that board with the cards that he's got in his hand. He does have the Cerberus on turn 5, just came into that card, not a moment too soon.
It's interesting. So he opts to play his Shadow Reaper now. Is he looking to trade and buff up here?
I think so, yeah. The Evolved Sergeant is going to be able to
Take
out the
Fencer.
Yeah.
Shadow Reaper that's fairly buffed up here.
But now Gregory's in a real difficult position. He's got Cerberus in his hand and a Soul Conversion for more card drop, but that's it. And the only 2 followers he's got on the field is the Reaper and the Cerberus. Cards you're not really going to want to use Soul Conversion on. This next draw is going to be absolutely crucial. If he can come into a Death's Breath on this next turn, he's got 8 shadows to spend. That's going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah. Omega would have much rather had the Luminous Mage or Albert ready to go on this turn. But played the main leader, got the mage.
Yep.
And here comes Cerberus. Evolve can push through.
Yep. Mimi's going to be able to take out the Lancer and evolve Cerberus going into the Steel-clad Knight. Leaving Gregory with some really strong followers that Omega's going to have to get through. But there's already tons of pressure that Omega was able to keep on. Gregory's already at 13 health.
All right.
You could evolve the Geno, trade into the Reaper just to kind of keep Geno alive for that one turn, and it still has its last word ability. But then you're really leaving the Cerberus on the field as well. It's kind of a difficult trade.
I feel like if you're going to do that, you may as well use a mage.
Right.
And then you keep either the knight or the mage on the table.
Right. You could. There is a Leroy Archer as well, and you can ping for 1, get rid of the Cerberus, and then trade in the Reaper as well for only a 2 cost and Evolve Orb. I mean, that sounds like a great play. And you've still got the Luminous Mage in your hand as well for a free Evolve Orb in the coming turns as well.
I wonder, I mean, there is a lot of value for keeping the orb for an Albert, right? Looks like he's going to go for the Lyrial play.
Yeah.
It all ends here.
So it's a last Evolve Orb for Omega. We're not going to see an evolved Enhanced Albert. But I don't think that Omega's going to be missing it too much. He's already got a massive amount of pressure. And the only followers that, he just came into Death's Breath. Oh, that's really great. Oh, I can catch my breath again.
A breath
Gregory's
of fresh air.
A breath of fresh air. How right you are.
Oh, God. You were about to leave at the start of this broadcast when you made a pun. Now I'm about to leave.
It's fine. Well,
That buff is so great. It's going to allow every single card to trade into these boards.
Oh, that's so nice.
The only thing is,
clearing the board
Death's
one more
Breath
time.
kind of buying back a few of the shadows that it spent.
Right. But now Omega has the Luminous Mage on his side of the field just waiting, ready to go. And does Gregory target the Luminous Mage? I think he's going to with this Phantom Howl.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gets real troublesome if you let that mage constantly just give out free evolve. And it's dangerous, too, because then you can do something like play an Albert and get a free evolve on the Albert.
If Gregory elects to play this Skull Beast.
Got the second
Oh,
server.
now Geno's going to have a target, or the Fangblade Slayer is going to have a target as well. If he just ended his turn and didn't have a single follower, both of those followers wouldn't be able to really get their full effect.
It's going to be the Albedas.
Going for face damage. Really wants to put on this pressure. He smells blood in the water. He doesn't think that Gregory has the options left in his hand. But with this Cerberus, he's going to get Coco and Mimi, and he still has another Coco in his hand as well. I think he's going to be able to stem the flood, buffing up the Skull Beast, trading into the pirate as well. Yeah.
What are you hiding inside?
And a Catacomb on top of that. What a great play. Oh, but he's
He's
not going to
not
buff
gonna
up
go
the
for the
Skull
trade.
Beast. Yeah. This is a difficult position that Omega is in because he could Fangblade Slayer the Cerberus and then trade in with Pirate. And you do a lot of face damage, but no matter what he does, now that he's played the Fangblade Slayer, no matter what he does, Gregory's going to have a full board for a possible Ector next turn. Going to be a zombie party, so that could get rid of the Pirate and give him a full board.
Yeah. Get rid of the pirate. Take down the Fangblade Slayer by using Coco.
The bones embrace me.
Zombie party here, maybe? And this is really scary for Gregory. He's basically playing on a hope, right? If he doesn't have ward, he's liable to just die.
There could have been a Grimnir in the hand for Omega, for example.
The Grimnir or the Albert, it's so dangerous here. Every single draw is one step closer to losing.
Now I think Omega is definitely in the position he wants to be to close out this game. Oh, with that Sergeant draw, it's going to be real difficult for Gregory to come back from this one. He does have the Catacomb, so he's going to have a full board, but that's a lot of damage already on the board for Omega, and even depending on the draw, there's so many cards that Omega could draw that'll give him the cards that'll give him the damage he needs to close out this game.
Oh my god, look at his shadows, man.
Those shadows are ramping up.
All right, let's see what the draw is. Oh!
Ooh.
楽に死ねると思うなよ Strength and beauty together.
The more you swing face, so fully committed, all cards on the table,
Gosh.
and Gregory just needs to continue to clear board.
Right.
どうして勝てない
And the good thing about that is the more Gregory clears the board, because of that catacomb when he had 4 followers, he's got so many chances to get more skeletons, and that's gonna spell the end for all of the followers on Omega's side of the board.
It's all about Storm now.
Has Gregory done it? Another floor fencer.
Oh god.
This could mean the end.
Strength and beauty
So-
together.
There's 6 damage currently.
Right. And 17 health. Oh, an Illyrial Archer.
This is almost like playing Russian roulette, I feel like. Every time
A
you
little bit, yeah.
click the end turn button, the gun goes click.
Oh, thank God I survived for another turn. And both of these players playing down to the wire to their last cards.
Oh god, turn 13.
Oh, Oh, what a draw. That Fangblade Slayer coming in not a moment too soon.
Bullet
Giving
in the chamber.
bullet in the chamber.
Bullet
That's
in the
Gregory
chamber.
going down 1 game, Omega taking it 1-0.
And it's really about kind of having the options needed to just chop up the opportunities that Shadowcraft has. Right?
Right.
Shadowcraft has a pretty steady game plan. But if the early curve that Omega had and just the way he was able to transition into the late game and disrupt the cards and the opportunities that were available to Gregory, I think really hurt Gregory's late game potential. He just couldn't quite draw back the power enough to make it there. We talked a little bit about Shadowcraft having the draw ability and hard removal and having things like Lurching Corpse and Necro Assassin. And that's something that the 7th very consciously adjusted his deck to help him with. Could have really helped Gregory in that scenario, I feel.
Yeah, I think you're right. And going into this next matchup, they'll have to keep that in mind as Omega has a 1-drop and a 2-drop in his hand as well. A 3-drop as well. This is going to be absolutely stellar for the Shadowcraft player to get that perfect curve, the curve that they need. Gregory has got some options in his hand as well. He drew the Olivia and the Israfil this early in the game as well. And he's got the Rahab for ward and Draconic Fervor for heal and draw and ramp as well in the later turns. But again, these are all cards that he's not going to be able to play for a few more turns. And Bahamut again. This is a real difficult position that Gregory has found himself in.
Yeah, he has to float 3. That's a huge loss of tempo against a Shadowcraft deck.
Definitely.
You know, it wasn't Cerberus on 3, but the Grimner can be pretty effective as well.
Right.
Rahab
And
comes
Omega
down.
still has the Lurching Corpse in his hand. He could evolve that and trade in the Rahab. It can attack followers with ward, but I think the Catacomb in this instance is the play to make.
Yeah, gonna maintain skeletons on the board here.
Right. And Rahab with 2 attack, it's not going to be able to take down the Grimnir or the Catacomb. Those cards are going to get some massive value in on this turn when the Dragon player is going to want to be playing Draconic Fervor.
Yeah.
He's going to have to really go for board clear. Oh,
The skeletons are
what a
coming.
tough decision that Gregory has had to make in this turn. This is a lot of damage.
Big turn. Cerberus can drop here.
Cerberus could
The
drop
Dark
here.
Conjurer as well.
That'd be an extra face damage with
Dark
the
Conjurer
one
and the
ghost.
Lurching Corpse.
Yep.
Oh, it's gonna be Cerberus. And another Evolve. Hey, finally that card that has the line, if you have more than 2 Evolve followers, I forgot what the name was.
Oh,
It's,
and a demonic something. Yeah, we
I
never
just-
never see the card.
When
It's,
I read that card, I just laughed. I just laughed. But hey, would have been cool here.
would have been cool. Well,
Maybe.
maybe. I don't think he would have gotten the chance to play it.
Yeah.
He could have if he just evolved the Soul Squasher and didn't play Cerberus and played the demonic thing as well. But alas.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Oh my. There's just.
Oh no.
It's just a kid, like watching a kid at a candy shop. What is he gonna eat? There's so many choices.
There's
Omega actually has so many cards.
choices. But we're getting to those high play points where Bahamets are going to start coming out next turn and Israfils as well. So there's going to be healing and also a lot of board clear as well. But there's only 10 health remaining Omega can ping for so much damage this turn.
5, 6, 7.
Loose lately.
He's got plus
I think
4.
he's got enough
He's
damage
done
in his
it.
hand already,
Mhm.
just with Coco and Mimi. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Absolutely brutal. Nothing that Gregory had in his hand was able to stem the flood.
There it is. Omega with the 2-0. Both EXG members, they're getting stronger as they're going.
Oh my gosh. And we're going to see EXG in the finals.
And both of the EXG members are going to come crashing with all the momentum they've built up, and they're going to
clash of
cause a
the-
supernova.
The clash of the EXG Titans in the finals. I love this finals.
The 7th and Omega. Off the back of Vindy's buff, I feel like let's take a look at the bracket to see exactly their journey here. EXG has just been killing it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what is up.
No kidding. 2-0 in the semifinals nonetheless.
They just destroyed their opponents, and now they're going to have to destroy each other in the finals. I can't even decide who out of the two of them would be favored in this matchup.
It's a difficult choice. I think Vindy is going to be able to speak to that just a little bit more. I mean,
I have a choice.
now that he's comfortable, and okay, both my teammates have made it to the finals. Great. Now I can like totally play favorites.
I have a choice here, and I'm going to write it down so
Okay.
you know that I'm
Okay.
committing to it.
Okay, you're just not going to say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to ask Vindy to see if it's different than mine.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Vindy. Hey, you're here.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I'm alive.
Hey. So,
So-
now you have to pick between your two children. Which one is your favorite? I know I've made you do this before on an EXG broadcast.
I know
that's
this
right,
is
that's
like I'm just, it's. There was that one tournament you were in there casting too, and it just ended up having the whole AXG being top 3.
Yeah, yeah.
And now
A lot of
it's
EXG
happening
members.
again.
I think it was like Blaine
Um,
and a bunch of other people.
I would have to say I would go with the 7th on this based on his lineups.
What?
And I believe he's. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 7th on this one.
Who are you
Mainly
gonna
because
go
he's
with,
shown a
Sonny?
lot of consistency with what he's been doing.
Mhm.
And Omega, I think this might have been his 1 or 2 times, and this is his second. I haven't actually paid too
Mhm.
much, but
Mhm.
I think 7th has a stronger consistency than Omega at this moment. So there you go.
Mhm.
There
There it is.
My
Vindy has
thoughts.
chosen.
I really like Omega's Shadowcraft deck when compared to the 7th Shadowcraft deck.
Mhm.
Omega's got the Phantom Howl, he's got the Dark Conjurer, he's got those more aggressive cards, and
Mm-hmm.
if it comes down to a mirror matchup, which it very well may,
Mhm.
I think the more aggressive deck is going to come out on top in the Shadow Mirror
Mhm.
matchup.
So, Vindy actually chose my choice. My choice with the 7th. They can't see it. My choice was the 7th as well. I had the gut feeling.
Of course, I'm alone. I don't have any.
You don't have any friends.
Oh, don't be.
But if I win, then I totally schooled both of you.
That's true. I will buy you dinner if that happens.
Oh.
Hey,
Oh, cool.
we're at that time of the broadcast where we're going to be featuring these cool Shadowverse Tempest of the Gods card packs. And I don't think we can get too super close, but they come in these nice little vanilla packs. They're kind of vanilla colored a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanilla. It's like an eggshell yellow almost. Like
eggshell
not quite an
yellow.
off-white. There's a little bit more yellow to it.
All right, and here's a test. So they've got the Shadowverse logo. It says Tempest of the Gods. Got the Cygames brand up there, and on the back it says cards in this series include. So these are the cards that we can get, and pay attention to it because you're gonna need to choose which cards we're gonna open. All right, which do you think we're gonna open? So it could be Zeus, Ouroboros, Elf Queen, Demon Lord Ector, Gawain, Belphegor, Word Wielder Ginger, or Dark Jean.
Dark Sean.
Mhm. So, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be, buddy?
I'm gonna go with Elf Queen on this one.
Elf Queen. Okay, he's calling Elf Queen.
Arthur, would you do the
I-
honors?
okay, let me open.
Elf Queen, you've heard it here, folks.
Oh, this is
Don't rip the
incredibly-
card.
Yeah, this
Sorry,
is
you're not gonna rip
incredibly
the card.
embarrassing.
You just get so anxious about it. I love it.
I do. So
It's I mean, it's pretty nerve-wracking. These are, I mean, I wouldn't say exclusive, but it's pretty close to it. These are valuable collector's items.
Okay.
I'm just making Arthur more nervous.
This is what the card. What?
No way.
This happened to Envy as well. It's the Elf Queen. Oh my God. Vindy.
How's he doing, man?
Vindy,
How's he
you
doing?
are a magician
So
from
you
a
said the
different
7th?
universe.
I'm changing my vote to the 7th.
You're changing your vote to the
because
7th? We got Elf Queen. Man,
Yes,
this is like one of my favorite cards as well.
That's such a great card.
It's a little bit holographic. 7 cost for the 6/6. Of course, it heals you for however many shadows you have after eating up all the shadows.
Right.
There's the Elf Queen card, and the backs of these cards are awesome as well.
Yeah, they're holographic as well. All right.
Okay.
Vindy, what do you think this next pack is going to be? Out of those total cards, Zeus, Gwaine, Ginger, Ouroboros, Ector, Belphegor, Dark, Jean.
I want to call Ginger out on this one.
Ginger?
Ginger?
Okay. All right.
Ginger.
Oh boy. Oh
Right,
boy.
he's 1 for
I'm
1.
I don't know why I'm so nervous. Why am I nervous?
All right. Go. You're right, it is kind of difficult.
Yeah, it's
be
real
careful.
difficult. Don't hurt it.
Ooh.
Oh God. Oh, I've seen too much
It's
of
the
him.
Demon Lord himself.
It's
Aw.
Mr. Ector.
Can't get rid of this guy, man. He keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Chop off his head, he grows 2 more. It's a different myth. Don't listen to me.
I have no idea. Cool. So we got Elf Queen and Ector. All right, give me one more prediction, Vindy.
All right. So
1 for 2. It's not bad. It's not bad. You
it's
still
not
got a
bad,
chance.
It's not bad. We're gonna go with Zeus on this one.
Zeus? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. He's going for Zeus, he says. Zeus, he says. I've developed a new strategy
Oh,
where I come across the top,
that works. That's really
and
good.
then you can just...
Instead of ripping it down the
Yeah.
side where it kind of gets in
Yeah.
the way. Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, this is a cool one.
That's a great
This is a
one.
cool one.
We haven't seen this
Whoosh, Dark Jean. I'm getting all the best cards, I feel like.
one. Hey,
I'm getting
dude,
all the best
this
ones.
dude, Ector is probably the best card in the game.
It's
if
Dark
we're
Jean.
being honest, if we're being honest,
Aw,
come on.
That was my second guess
So
too.
that was your second guess. So it's
That was
Vin-
my second guess.
So Vindy is 1 for 3. We've got Dark Jean here. We've got Elf Queen, and of course Ector over there. And
I'm just gonna go ahead and get a head start on this.
all right, Vindy. Last guess. Last guess. This is your pride on the line here. You're about to get wrecked by envy.
All right. What was?
I'm getting there. It's
You
coming.
want me to give you the choices again?
Yes, please.
Zeus, Ouroboros, Elf Queen, Ector, Gawain, Belphegor, Ginger,
I'll give you a
or
hint.
Dark Jean.
It's not gonna be one of the
Belphegor.
Belphegor. Okay. I was gonna say it's not gonna be one of the cards we've already seen here today, but oh gosh, it's stuck.
You stuck it.
Oh no.
I can't.
I'm trying really hard.
What did you say?
I
You
will
said
have to
Belphegor?
say, I have the Olivia physical card.
Really? You have Olivia?
So-
Oh my god, that's
yeah.
super rare.
I don't-
All right. Is Vindy going to... Oh no! It's Gawain the Rock
Gawain.
Johnson!
God,
Gawain
not
the
like
Rock
this.
Johnson!
You got
Oh,
one. I mean,
no.
to be fair, like it was a 1 out of 8 chance.
Confirmed
you
here
know?
on stream. Envy Rex Vindy
Ouch.
in Shadowverse card
Ouch.
game.
Not bad.
That's okay. That's okay, buddy. Hey, you still got us the Elf Queen, and that's pretty sick. The Elf Queen call out was pretty sick here. So, hey, remember as we're kind of... Oh no! Oh, no!
Drop it.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, okay. So, remember, if you guys go and attend MomoCon, you also can get your hands on these card packs
Mhm.
and start collecting your own iterations of either of those 8 cards. You could get your own Dark Jean or your own Elf Queen.
That's
or
right. You
maybe-
can start playing your own physical games with these 8 cards.
Mhm.
Be pretty fast games or
And
really long
definitely-
games.
Definitely. If you go to the booth and you just play a game of Shadowverse, you're gonna get 1 pack.
Sweet.
If you go to the tournament and you play in the tournament, you're going to get a pack. So just as in the game, packs are being given out. We're going to make it rain some card packs. So definitely come hang out with Sterling and I and Envy and Aya Senpai and get your Shadowverse physical card packs. And now I know that Olivia exists. I'm coming for you, Vindy.
We're not separate in that.
Mm-hmm.
We are separate in that. Excuse me.
All right. So, Vindy, you've given us your predictions. The 7th is going to take the tournament win here. And I think we're all set to jump into the finals. I would just like to take this moment to give a big shout out to Excelsior Vindy himself from Team EXG for hanging out with us, having a good time on the Shadowverse Open. Got to open some packs, got to watch some games, got to watch his boys make it far into the tournament, and now we're here at the culmination of all of that, the finals event. Who's going to take first place? This will be the 7th invited player. It's going to be an EXG
The
member.
7th could win the 7th week.
Oh, no, I didn't even realize.
You found my secret.
I missed that just like I missed Lethals.
I will be so happy if the 7th win now. Just
Now
knowing
you're
that.
on board?
Now I really want the 7th to win. Dude, you gotta take it, man. You gotta win the 7th week.
Come on.
That's why I went for it.
You must die.
All right. So Vindy's strategy has been revealed. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Excelsior Vindy. Would love to keep talking and see you on the weekends, and looking forward to more EXG tournaments. But now we're going to settle down and make way for these two Goliaths of Shadowverse players, EXG Omega and EXG the 7th.
And Omega is starting out with the sword deck in 7th on his shadow deck. He's got the Necro Assassin in hand. We'll see if that card will come in handy against this sword matchup. I really like that card in the matchup. He's going to mulligan it, but it'll probably come back in his hand for those later turns. Omega going first as well. He doesn't have a 1-drop, but the 7th has a 1-drop as well. That's going to be a lot of pressure coming out.
Is this going to be the second potential if Omega wins? So the 7th is doing Dragon Shadow, right?
Yeah.
And Omega is doing Sword Shadow.
Correct.
Will Omega be the second tournament winner with Swordcraft? I'll have to dig
Has
around
someone
for
else
the
won
statistics.
besides Noah with sword?
So Noah definitely won with Sword.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and check.
Oh, he definitely won with sword.
Yeah.
He won with sword. He wins with sword currently.
He is a winner. Omega is about to pave his own way, create his own path to victory. Novice Trooper down. Maybe looking to... Oh, okay, he's just going to leave it.
He's going to go for base.
Catacomb's excited about that.
Yeah, Catacomb's real happy about that. He's going to have a friend.
Hey, buddy. There it is. And now the trade commences. You get real sad.
And now this Geno has got a great trade ahead of him. He's going to be left with 2 health. If Omega decides to play that, Geno is such a good card to have when you go first. It's 4/3, it's got rush, and you don't have to spend an evolve point to just get some tempo in your favor and clear off your opponent's board as well.
Mhm.
But
Orthrus? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo,
Orthrus?
choose a Geno of them all.
choose the Geno of them all.
I've already cursed it.
Yeah.
I've cursed it.
It could be. We could be seeing that the Catacomb could trade into Lyrial Archer and then Orthrus, but then you can't get that base damage. That might be what he does, just to guarantee that Orthrus takes out.
Well, the skeleton's still going to get buffed up, right? So
Still going to get buffed up. Yeah. Yeah, and now Omega's going to have to trade into that 3/1 follower for a little bit extra damage to followers. But there is a Luminous Mage in the hand of Omega as well. That card, we're probably most likely going to see that card come out this turn as well. Come out this next turn.
7th thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
For strategy, future strategies.
Right. And the 7th, I like that the 7th, he was able to clear off his opponent's board. He didn't get any face damage, but he got to save his first Evolve Orb. It wasn't required of him to use that currency just to gain tempo. Now he's got it for the later stages of this game.
The nice thing is these Swordcraft decks are designed to constantly have rush and different sources of being able to provide the rush effect without spending resources either from Geno or Luminous Mage, right?
Right.
So there's still some very strong, I guess, stamina in the deck. Grimner comes down, the main leader to draw an option. It's going to grab Albert, and I think that's a good play. While you have the opportunity, play out the main leader, and kind of make sure you have your late game options before it's too late.
Before it's too late, correct.
Spend the resource to do it.
Now in the hand for the 7th, he's got the Skull Beast, Sergeant, the Bone Chimera as well. He could evolve the Bone Chimera and trade that into the Grimnir as well, or he could trade his own Grimnir into the Grimnir, and his would be left with 1 health. So that would be a way to kind of gain tempo, and you can also play the Sergeant as well. So there's plethora of options here that the 7th has. Plethora. Good word.
I like that word.
It's a good word.
We've been using it a lot today.
I think it's going to be, what he elects to do.
My power is uncontrollable.
Oh, what a... My powers are uncontrollable.
What an arrogant little...
God.
Gosh.
If that doesn't make you want to throw your phone across the room, I don't know what would.
So there's an enhanced Geno available. We'll be able to get those followers as well, but a Luminous Mage as well, getting to spin that free Evolve Orb. Coming up next turn for the 7th, he's got Death's Breath. That's going to be just a monster for Omega to have to clear through. Tsubaki's not really going to help with that. Albert can definitely clear off those followers, but it's just another ward that Omega's going to have to chew through.
And I wonder, I mean, almost no matter what Omega plays, it's kind of... He's going to lose all the followers on the board, right? Because there's going to be a way for the 7th to trade into it. Which means that Death's Breath is going to be well set up to just be uncontested on his drop, which is going to lose a lot of tempo for Omega.
Yeah, Death's Breath is going to get some massive value this next turn, especially if the 7th can draw an Ector. If he draws an Ector in these next 2 turns, either whether on turn 6 or turn 7, it's going to be absolutely massive. I need to stop calling. I need to stop talking about what they could draw next.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. And he's more than comfortable spinning the Evolve Orb on the zombie to get off the mage and get an extra 3 damage because he knows that the Ector's going to be coming out next turn. And you can't even use Tsubaki on these cards.
That's a big problem with Tsubaki against Shadow is really the only card is maybe a Shadow Reaper and then Ector.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got the Lyrial Archer and the Albert as well, so he could ping the Orthrus for 1, trade the Lyrial into the evolved zombie, and then Albert can be able to trade off one of the other zombies as well. But then that's still a full 2 followers that the 7th is going to be able to get and trade into as well. Oh my gosh, with that Ector coming out next turn, that's going to be one massive power play. Especially with the amount of, he's got perfect 6 shadows. That's 2 zombies. That's going to be able to clear out the Geno and the Lyrial Archer as well as going for face.
Oh, man. For 10 damage.
Yep.
Maybe even 12.
Yeah, if he wants to spend an Evolve Orb here, that's going to be his last orb. He knows that Omega is out of his orbs as well, so, man, evolving that Sergeant is going to feel really good. Getting a massive 6/4 follower with the 6/3 zombie with ward. What a board. Even a Tsubaki is not going to be able to stem this flood.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know if there's a card that exists that can actually protect... Yep. Nope.
Yeah, oh my gosh. The 7th with that massive pressure.
This is the power of Shadowcraft. And you know what? Maybe Omega is actually kind of okay with this.
Right.
You know, Swordcraft in terms of the matchup, it can be very tough against Shadowcraft. So you're maybe not even expecting to win against a Shadowcraft
So
deck.
now he gets to keep his sword deck. He's probably going to stay with the sword deck to go up against the dragon matchup. I think that could be his favor. So he's got a great chance to bring this series 1-1.
And I think that's probably the way, kind of attack the deck that you think has the chink in the armor, right? And that might be Dragoncraft. Throw your Swordcraft deck against it, try to outpace it, swing for that storm.
But if the dragon deck can upset this matchup,
the 7th is taking the win, and all the prophecies come true.
This one's for my
prophecies of the 7th 7.
The
Seventh
seven.
week 7 champion. There's got to be a way to phrase that. That just sounds so cool.
I think there's 7 rounds in a tournament as well.
Is there?
So round 5 is quarters.
Oh my
and
gosh.
semis is 6.
This is getting spooky,
round 7.
dude.
If you start looking for it,
I don't want to dig any deeper, man.
If he wins on the 7th turn.
Oh my god. Wins on the 7th turn.
Oh my gosh.
Let's look at the options in the hand for the 7th. He's got Breath of the Salamander, Blazing Breath as well, plenty of board clear. Ward, as well as the Sybil, going to be coming out in the next 2 turns for that heal and ramp as well. That ramp that's oh so sweet. But Omega's also got the cards in hand that he needs as well. He's got Floor Finsler and Albert in the turn after that. Going to be able to come out.
Retreat.
Zeus in hand. We've really seen the power of Zeus today.
We have seen the power of Zeus.
The power lies
Won the
with
game twice. One was Sahaquiel and then just evolved the Zeus. And another was just a straight Zeus
just
evolved.
Zeus.
Yeah, going for face, man. Classic. We don't usually see that.
the father.
I think he's debating whether or not to play the Rahab or the Breath of the Salamander. He's going to go with the Rahab and keep the Grimnir up. Breath of the Salamander would have had the perfect amount of damage to take off the Grimnir. But now Omega can clear with the Grimnir.
Beauty together.
Yeah.
So he's going to, Floor Fencer doesn't have enough attack points to get rid of the Rahab. But now with the Grimnir still up, he can keep that up. Or excuse me, he's going to be able to get rid of the Rahab.
The double trade.
Yep. Double trade, and that's a massive board that the 7th has to deal with. He's not on turn 6. He doesn't have the enhanced Breath of the Salamander until next turn. He's going to have to hope that this evolved Sybil is going to be able to give him the pressure he needs. And I think it might.
Not gonna get the healing. Like
Right.
Yeah.
But he's still on 20 health points. The healing is not that necessary right now, but
That hurts.
there's still some followers on the side for Omega. The 7th wasn't able to completely clear off the board, but an evolved Albert could be coming out this turn as well.
Yeah. I think what's really strong here for Omega is the fact that he has Alwida's in hand, which I think is such an incredible card. 3 storm damage. I mean, that's basically like an Albert in terms of damage.
Right.
Plus, you get the ward.
Plus, you get the ward, and you can evolve it as well. I mean, it's such a great option.
I think the Alwidas will help a lot. I definitely think Omega has to be very cognizant of kind of the time frame that he's playing on.
Right.
He doesn't know it, but there's a Lightning Blast waiting in hand. Of course, the Zeus is there. He's got a Grimnir. And with the Sybil down as well, he's got that extra pump, so that's just that much faster that the 7th is going to be able to unlock those options.
Breath
The
of the
Sahag Wheel.
Yeah, Breath of the Salamander is going to be able to just completely clear off this board. But that's going to be the dead turn for the 7th. He's going to clear off the board, which is great. And then probably an evolved Albert next turn. Well, he's not going to want to spend his last evolve orb on the Albert. He might want to save that card. Like you said, Alwida's could come out as well. Alwida's very high value card for a turn 6 play.
I think right now he's going to commit the Alwidas. There is a consideration for playing out, and maybe you want to keep more cards in hand, but you could have played out something like the Novice Trooper, the Quick Blader, and the Veteran Lancer, or something like that.
Try to get rid of those low-cost followers.
Yeah. But then that might be too much of a tell in terms of like, well, you just played your entire hand.
Even in the midst of this healing deck, though, Omega has been able to do a lot of damage that's been able to stick. The 7th is sitting at 14 health.
Sahak right now is really only going to bring out Zeus.
Still, he could evolve the Sahak Wheel and trade it into the Pirate, but he's gonna trade the Zeus just to get rid of that follower, and then the Blazing Breath. What a great use of all your 8 play orbs. You're going to make those efficient plays, and you get to keep a 4/4 follower on the board as well.
There's a lot of Storm. Double Novice Trooper.
There is
plus the Katana
ton of
Chief.
Storm. We saw that double Novice Trooper win a game earlier today.
5 damage on the table is going to put you at 9, which, unless you heal, means that Albert Evolve will kill you on turn 9.
That's right. Going second, turn 9 is still a ways off. There's 2 turns, including this one, that Omega's going to have to play through, but he's going to go for that. He's going to go for that damage.
And this might be a big tell for the 7th. He says, okay, well, he's definitely swinging for face now, so anything I can do
and there's another Breath of the
protection-wise.
Salamander.
The next turn is going to be very important for Omega. How can he set up a situation where he can make it to turn 9 and keep the 7th from kind of... He really wants to put the 7th as low as he can, right? Because any kind of healing will ruin this strategy.
And there's
for
wards,
Salamander.
there's wards in the hand of the 7th. He's got the Grimnir and the Zeus as well, but when you play Zeus, you get that 5 damage immediately
You wouldn't.
if you evolve at 7, but then you're at risk for a Tsubaki coming out and taking out that card just off the board entirely.
Yeah. Whereas if you were to, say, evolve Zell, you'll both get Storm and avoid Tsubaki in terms of...
Oh, another Trooper. That's a lot of Storm.
Yeah, I
gosh.
almost think the... well, there's... You could try to ward up with that Storm.
Right. Yeah, there's no healing as well. For the 7th, he's going to have to play... Yeah, he might just have to play Zeus. If he plays Grimnir next turn, he gets the
5,
ward and the
2,
4 damage
5,
as well.
7. Yeah, if he plays Albert this turn with a Trooper, he's only got 7.
Yeah, but that would be
Next
8
turn is going to be turn
play
10, 4, 6,
Mhm.
5 from Zeus. So 11 damage plus the evolve, 13. So the 7th is just short of a killing blow.
Hmm.
And the banish is not going to matter. He needs to play the ward, which is fine because he's going to get the 4 damage with it as well.
I see what you're saying. Lethal not quite
Ooh.
in range, and he's going to go for the Albert. 1 turn shy of being enhanced. I think he...
A little blood won't
Can have the
stop
Trooper
me.
next turn and then Grimnir in the turn after that.
The battlefield awaits.
I think he's looking for a Grimnir finish, but he's left himself with no ward now.
Right.
Oh, Israfil.
and Israfil with an Evolve Orb left. That's going to be absolutely massive.
That's going to
Evolve.
heal up.
Yeah, it's going to heal up. He can evolve, get rid of the Trooper as well, and trade into the Albert, and go base for 6 damage, plus the 2 damage from
Yeah.
Israfil's ability.
Yep. Oh, what?
So sorry.
Oh,
That
man.
line of play was real. I mean, it's a tough decision to
Omega
make.
almost had it. He could still draw a Fangblade Slayer, and that would be a ton of damage to be able to get rid of the Israfil as well. But still, there's still Sahaquiel and Zell. They've been on the field for a few turns.
And now it's
and
coming down to the wire.
the
You're
Grimnir-
only on turn 9. You can't quite stretch
Oh,
there.
no.
Israfil is just going to wipe it
I
out.
think the 7th is oh my gosh.
Ah!
Oh no.
I mean,
think this-
Israfil swinging his
Oh,
Grimnir
and
is
that's
going to do
Omega
it in the
tapping out.
7th.
the 7th being the 7th
was
winner of the
such-
7th week.
Such an important turn for Omega.
That
On
was
that
absolute-
8 play point turn, I mean, the decisions that he had to make there. And I almost have to wonder, right, if you had played... I mean, there were a few diverting kind of moments, right?
Right.
He could have played his whole hand at 7 play points in terms of, like, the Novice Trooper, the Quick Player, and the Veteran Lancer to kind of protect himself as well as do damage to face. There were a few different iterations of that combo. I think what ended up really hurting was that turn 9, not
Right.
being able to play the Enhanced Albert.
Yeah.
And I really feel like what it's coming down to is that turn 8 is so tough for Swordcraft. Because it was really the transition phase. He had all the tools, right? Maybe if he had a Fangblade Slayer, it would have
right.
made a
That
lot
might
more
have
sense.
been the one missing piece of the puzzle that he needed.
Mhm. Unfortunately for Omega, he's going to take 2nd place, and the champion will be the 7th. All the predictions today came true.
He didn't win on turn 7 though.
He didn't win on turn 7, that's true.
So
There it is, the 7th, with Vindy joining us and talking about EXG and kind of hoping that they would make a good performance. 2 of the EXG members of the 3 that made it to the top 8 make it all the way to the finals.
Right.
And Gengar, unfortunately, got even team killed by the tournament winner. So who knows how far Gengar would have gone.
who knows, man?
I mean, he would.
Yep.
The bracket was so small that they would have to team kill each other anyways,
Eventually,
right?
yeah.
But
man,
what an outcome,
Vindy
EXG.
has got to be one happy camper.
Yeah.
EXG is going to be able to surpass Shadow Nexus in the standings for total points and take 2nd place. Mana Surge is still 1st place. They've got tons of points. Don't worry, they've got no shortage of points.
Mana Surge has all the points. All right. Make sure to visit shadowverse.ng.io to figure out how you can sign up. There's only 3 tournaments left, so make sure if you want to have a chance at winning the $10,000 cash prize, you go to that website and sign up and figure out what the rules are, how to participate, or if you just want to watch, all the broadcast information is there as well, schedules and whatnot. Go to @WatchNGE, the Twitter platform for the Shadowverse Open, to find everything Shadowverse related and Shadowverse Open related, and you can talk to us about anything Make sure to check Twitch panel for giveaway information. 3,500 vials. You can make a card of your choice. All the bronze cards. Do it.
So many bronze cards.
So many bronze cards. Or you could make yourself a handy dandy dark jaune. You could do that too.
Mhm.
And I think that would be a great choice. So, thank you very much again for Excelsior Vindy for joining us and kind of having a good time and opening some cards with us. That's Sterling. I'm Rady. Congratulations to EXG the 7th for being the 7th tournament winner. That's it from us at the Shadowverse Open. We'll see you next week.